Chapter 889, 18 Dean Alliance. Chapter 889, 18 Dean Alliance. Xiao Wandao's appearance shocked everyone on the battlefield. Many of the elders changed their expressions when they saw him. The previous dean was the first person to dare to reject the palace question of God since the founding of the school, and was also the first person to put forth a stand against the palace question of God. More accurately, he should be a madman. Ouyang Zhan frowned. His anger did not lessen as he stared at Xiao Wandao and said, Xiao Wandao, you are no longer a member of the God Emperor Academy. You have no right to interfere in the matters here. Xiao Wandao laughed. Ouyang Zhan, I'm fine. What can you do? Others could ignore it, but Long Fei had to. Ouyang Zhan shouted and said, could it be that you want to become your enemy with God Emperor Academy, with Palace Question of God? So what if we're enemies? Xiao Wandao was not one bit scared by him, coldly laughed, and said, Ouyang Zhan, you think I will be afraid of you just because you pulled Palace Question of God out? His character had always been one of taking advantage of the situation. You want to be arrogant? Then he's even more arrogant than you. Ouyang Zhan's face sank, and his eyes became gloomy and cold as he said, Xiao Wandao, you dare be disrespectful to Palace Question of God. Xiao Wandao laughed coldly. You speak such rubbish. No doubt you want to make me into your trap to become your enemy with the Palace Question of God. Today, I will tell you everything. If anyone dares to touch Long Fei, this old man doesn't care who he is, just kill him. Ouyang Zhan shouted. Xiao Wandao, you said it yourself. Today, this brat disregarded the laws of the God Emperor Academy. 14 families of the 18 great matrial halls were squashed. According to the law, Xiao Wandao immediately interrupted. Don't tell me that's useless. Come on, tell me what you want to do. Don't talk to him. Ouyang Zhan said. Long Fei must be severely punished today. Xiao Wandao sneered and said, I already said try touching him. At this time, the White Tiger Dean descended and said, Xiao Wandao, aren't you being a little too arrogant? The Profound College of Martial Arts Training's head, Xiao Qianwu, also landed and said, It's not your turn to behave atrociously in this God Emperor Academy. The Vermilion Bird Principal also landed and said, Presbyter Qiao, you are no longer a member of the God Emperor Academy. It would be best for you to not worry about the God Emperor Academy, or else. No matter how strong you are, can you be stronger than the four of them? Someone who is stronger than the entire God Emperor Academy? As soon as he finished, boom, boom, one figure after another descended. All of them were at the principal level, a total of 18 Dean S. 18 people. Every single one of them was a super powerhouse. Forget about the 18 of them joining hands. Even the Azure Dragon, White Tiger, Vermilion Bird, Black Tortoise form matrial halls as principal, and Xiao Wandao were not a match for them. He knew better than to say. Even if he was the golden immortal peak realm, he wouldn't be able to stop it. Xiao Wandao frowned and thought, seems like Pan family has already killed off all my disciples, and so on. What a good method. He was also a dean and had a few disciples and elders in the God Emperor Academy. But now, not a single one had appeared. One could imagine how they had been wiped out by the Pan family. Ouyang Zhan stared at Xiao Wandao and sneered. Xiao Wandao, how arrogant are you now? With the principal working together, they could easily crush Xiao Wandao. Xiao Wandao laughed coldly. Sky-separating clan S sure are powerful. Although they didn't move in a God Emperor Academy, they bought all of you in half a year. I have to admit that Pan family's methods are really shocking. However, Ouyang Zhan, this old man still has to say it. If you have the guts, try touching one of him. His voice was tyrannical and extremely savage. At the same time, Xiao Wandao sent a sound transmission to Long Fei and said, Kid, when the fight starts, you will run. You don't need to worry about other things. He couldn't stop it, but he would do everything in his power to protect Long Fei, because Long Fei was his young master and even more so his savior. The 18 Dean S had joined hands. Long Fei was also shocked by this lineup, shocked by what Xiao Wandao had said. He had thought that the Pan family's powers would infiltrate the God Emperor Academy, but he never thought that the Pan family would actually bribe all 18 deans. That is to say, The Pan family took control of the entire God Emperor Academy. Long Fei's heart secretly tensed up. Sky separating clan, Pan family. At the same time, Long Fei took a step forward, and the idea firmly gripped her celestial explosion pills with a slight smile. Presbyter Chiu, Long family's people never retreat. Chiu Wandao frowned and said, Long Fei, now is not the time for you to show off. If they start fighting, you can leave and you don't have to worry about other things. It won't be that easy for these people to kill me. Escape? Huh? Ouyang Zhan laughed coldly. Try escaping. Where can you escape to in this immortal domain? Can you escape the control of the God Emperor Academy? Long Fei, if you dare to run, your brothers and relatives will all die. The first to die will be them. Ouyang Zhan's eyes swept across them and pointed at Sun Datu and the others who were not far away. Leader Sun's expression tightened and said, Young Master Long, don't worry about us. Fan Tong followed. Our lives are not worth much. Young Master Long, you don't have to worry about us. Don't worry about us. Not waiting for them to finish. Ouyang Zhan's finger moved again and said, If it's her. He pointed at Oya. Soon after, Ouyang Zhan continued, They're all in your arrogant dragon squad. Those people will all die. Also, your Nantian region's old home, your grandfather, your Long family, your brothers, and those other people will all die. Long Fei, run if you dare. Let's see how fast you can run and how fast I can kill you, haha. Ouyang Zhan laughed loudly. Despicable. How insidious. Not only that, Ouyang Zhan saw through all of Long Fei's powers. It was simply impossible for a principal of the Green Dragon Matrial Hall to investigate him so clearly. Sky separating clan of the Sky separating clan. It was definitely them. Right now, Long Fei was even more worried for Nantian region's relatives. Something must have happened. Even if nothing happened, he was still in danger. Long Fei's eyes turned sinister. The aura from his body became extremely cold, and he stared at Ouyang Zhan. You two, Pan family behind you, if you dare touch even a single hair on the back of one of the people beside me, I will destroy the tombs of your 18 generations of ancestors. I will do as I say. It was fine to screw with him, but not with his family and friends. This was the thing that Long Fei hated the most. It was incomparably vicious. As he spoke, Long Fei's eyes were staring straight at Ouyang Zhan without the slightest fear. The aura on his body was extremely arrogant, an arrogance that could crush all. Ouyang Zhan stared at him. The flames on his body started to burn crazily. With fury that soared to the sky, he said with killing intent, Long Fei, you are courting death. The war was about to begin. Chapter 890, Punishment. Chapter 890, Punishment. Don't submit, just do it. Threats? Then let's see who will die first. Long Fei was really not afraid of anyone. Even if the sky collapsed, he would die with a hole in his chest. The headmaster of the 18 great matrial halls had joined forces and was very strong. It could be said that this was the strongest power in the God Emperor Academy. However, what about it? Long Fei, you're courting death. Ouyang Zhan shouted in fury. Long Fei immediately shouted, Ouyang Zhan, come if you dare. Boom! Long Fei took a step forward again, his eyes fierce and cruel. Chiu Wandao also took a step forward. At this time, Aoya also made her choice, walking up to stand in a row with Long Fei. Ouyang Jian saw and shouted angrily, Aoya, you bitch! At the same time, Sun Datu also walked over. Young Master Long, although we are trash, we are willing to use our lives to block the attack for you. The other service disciples all walked over and stood beside Long Fei. Long Fei shouted loudly, We shall live and die together. The people around him all shouted, We shall live and die together. His voice was earth-shaking and incomparably mighty. The words, Let's live and die together, caused the hearts of the disciples to tremble. It was as if a bolt of lightning had struck their minds. They were all envious. They were jealous that Long Fei had such a group of brothers. What was a brother? This was it. They would live and die together. At the same time, there was also a group of people who were inwardly ridiculing Sun Datu. Aoya and the others thought that they were fools. Against the 18 great matrial Hall's principle, this was simply courting death. There was no chance of survival. Ouyang Zhan and the honorary principal laughed at him loudly. We'll live and die together? Ha ha! Then let's see just how many of you live and die together. As soon as he finished, Ouyang Zhan shouted, kill. Boom, boom, boom. The auras of all 18 Deans burst forth, forming a strong aura, especially the aura of the 4 matrial Halls, their auras converging together, forming an extremely strong aura. The entire College of War Martial Arts was crushed by the powerful pressure they released. The faces of countless disciples turned pale. They couldn't stand it any longer and quickly retreated. When Xiao Wandao's peak golden immortal aura blocked it, it could not withstand it and instantly collapsed. Rumble, rumble. The pressure was like rolling thunder as it pressed down. Long Fei's mind sank. Damn, let's see just how strong you 18 Deans are. Ah! His body exploded. Yan Huang ancestor suddenly said, don't be anxious, someone is coming. Long Fei retracted his aura. The moment the oppressive force came crashing down, a powerful force came crashing down from the sky. A spirit star emissary held a golden token in his hand. The power within the medallion was released abruptly and crushed down. In an instant, the pressure from the 18 headmasters was dispelled. 18 great matrial Hall's headmaster's heart trembled, and all of his body secretly shivered. Long Fei was also extremely shocked in his heart. That order badge doesn't seem to be an ordinary command medallion. I wonder if it can undo the seal chains on the giant demon. The star spirit messenger said slightly, the Supreme God has ordered. Long Fei will be handed over to the law enforcement agency. The other chairmen and elders are not allowed to interfere. If you disobey, kill. His voice was filled with authority, the aura of a true superior. It directly crushed Ouyang Zhan and the others. Star Spirit Messenger said to Ouyang Zhan after he finished speaking, Supreme God has sent a message for me. There's still a month until the Academy's large competition. Your 18 great matrial Halls should be preparing for it with all your might. Also, Supreme God has already decided that he will choose 10 disciples from the core disciples who have outstanding results in the Academy's competition to cultivate in Outer Space Palace. Furthermore, he will choose Dean from the top 10 students in the Academy's competition. And then, Star Spirit Messenger looked to a corner and said, 19th Principal, I'll leave the rest to you. Finished. Star Spirit Messenger turned and disappeared in a flash of light into the horizon. Ouyang Zhan slightly smiled. Long Fei, you still won't be able to escape. Just wait for the punishment from the law enforcement agency. According to the Academy's rules, you will be sentenced to death. Ha ha. It was also at this time. 19 walked out. He and Xiao Wandao rushed over together, but he did not appear. When he realized that he could no longer control the situation, the idea immediately informed the Supreme God. Only then would Star Spirit Messenger appear. He was very clear in his heart that before Long Fei found the Dragon Domain, nothing could happen to Long Fei. If anything happened to Long Fei, he couldn't afford the consequences. 19 slowly walked out and said lightly, Green Dragon Hegumen, if the punishment is my problem, then you don't have the right to say anything. Long Fei, right now, I will punish you to not leave the mission for a month, to not leave the God Emperor Academy, and to not leave it. Do you admit to your punishment? Long Fei looked at Ouyang Zhan and laughed, saying, it just so happens that I don't want to go out this month. He was ridiculing Ouyang Zhan. The faces of everyone around turned pale. Punishment him just like that? Isn't this called scratching an itch? Ouyang Zhan immediately asked, 19th Principal, did you get it wrong? 19 pairs of eyes stared at him and said, how I punish you is my business. If your Green Dragon Hegumen does not accept this, then you can complain at Supreme God. In the God Emperor Academy, he was the controller of the punishment, and even the dean did not have the qualifications to order him around, because he was directly managed by the palace question of God's Supreme God. Ouyang Zhan gritted his teeth in anger. looked at Long Fei's pleased face, and almost vomited blood. He stared at Long Fei and said, "Brat, just you wait. This matter will not end just like that." Long Fei said coldly, "Oh Yang Zhan, don't worry. This matter is definitely not over yet." Threatening his family, brother? No matter what, Long Fei would not let this matter go. 19 continued, Aoya, as a teacher of the College of War Martial Arts, you did not stop Long Fei in time. Your elder's qualification will be revoked, and you will be expelled from the College of War Martial Arts. Dao Feng, expel the current College of Martial Arts training. Wang Qingshan, Zheng Qingsong, Han Xueji, expel the existing College of Martial Arts training. Chen Tianfei, Man Toyuo, Xiao Ying is expelling the current College of Martial Arts training. Since the service disciples were beaten, scolded, and treated unfairly, all College of Martial Arts training S will clean themselves from now on. Long Fei, the position of Logistics Department Manager is temporarily lacking. You can act as the representative and control your service steps. 19 consecutive punishments. Although these punishments were called punishments to Long Fei, they were all rewards. This way, they would all become free bodies. It was also at this time. 19 looked at Xiao Wandao and said, Xiao Wandao, as the previous dean of the academy from today onwards, you are not allowed to meddle in the affairs of the academy anymore. Xiao Wandao laughed and ignored him. He had already repeated these words to him countless of times. Suddenly, Long Fei took a step forward and asked, 19th Dean, I have a question that I would like to ask. 19 said lightly, Ask. Long Fei asked, How can I build a new College of Martial Arts Training? The 19th College of Martial Arts Training? Long Fei wanted to establish his own College of Martial Arts Training. Chapter 891. See how much longer you can bounce. Chapter 891. See how much longer you can bounce, build a College of Martial Arts Training. 19 was shocked and thought to himself, Kid, you are quite ambitious. The surrounding elders were also stunned. Many of them started to loudly laugh. Ha ha ha! You think you can create a College of Martial Arts Training? Who do you think you are? How great do you think you are? You think you're worthy of establishing the College of Martial Arts Training? A fool's dream. He thinks too highly of himself. Long Fei, you better piss off and take care of yourself. Do you think that just because law enforcement agency does not punish you, you can do whatever you want with it? Do you think that you're so awesome just because you challenged 14 College of Martial Arts Training S today? Don't you see that the people you challenge today are all new disciples, senior disciples, and elders who are all in seclusion? Do you think that you're very strong? Any College of Martial Arts Training can crush you to death, understand? You are still trying to establish the College of Martial Arts Training. Are you not afraid of being laughed out of the blue? The mocking voices in the surroundings continued. Just as one of the principals had said, the reason why Long Fei could flip through the entire journey today was because those advanced disciples were cultivating in seclusion. Long Fei was currently at the 8th stage of the Virtual Immortals, but wanting to completely defeat a College of Martial Arts Training was impossible. The history of any of the 18 great matrial halls in the God Emperor Academy was more than 200 years. With 100 years of heritage, it was not something that a single person could defeat. Moreover, creating a College of Martial Arts Training was extremely difficult. It's not like the societies and the universities in my past life, where you can apply for the position just by reporting to a few more people. The conditions to establish the College of Martial Arts Training are too harsh. Unless it was supported by a lot of principle and palace question of goddess, otherwise, it was impossible. Long Fei did not pay attention to these sounds of mocking and ridiculing. Instead, he looked at Article 19 and asked seriously, What conditions do you need? 19 looked at Long Fei and said, You want to establish the College of Martial Arts Training? Long Fei said, When 18 great matrial halls didn't even accept me, I had already thought about the establishment of a College of Martial Arts Training. But at that time, I was only thinking about it. Indeed, I have indeed taken the advantage in today's challenge. With the 18 great matrial halls' several hundred years of heritage, any single College of Martial Arts Training can defeat me. However, With your 18 great material halls as principal here today, I, Long Fei, will definitely overturn you one by one. Especially you. Long Fei's finger moved, pointing at Ouyang Zhan. He said, Green Dragon, Material Hall. Ouyang Zhan dared to threaten him, or even threaten his family. This had touched Long Fei's bottom line. However, he knew it too. Ouyang Zhan was just a small fry in the Pan family. He could not come up with any tricks, and the person who truly threatened Long Fei was someone from the Pan family. Sky separating clan of the Sky separating clan. Too arrogant. Brat, don't be too presumptuous. Is Green Dragon Material Hall something you can challenge? I think you're tired of living. Many people felt injustice for Ouyang Zhan. Green Dragon Material Hall was the #1 college of martial arts training. His strength was extraordinary. It was also the earliest college of martial arts training. The depth of one's possession was indescribable. Ouyang Zhan's eyes turned sinister as he laughed coldly. Long Fei, you arrogant brat. At some point in time, you wanted to dig your own grave and challenge my Green Dragon Material Hall. Come here at any time. I'll cripple you any time. Long Fei slightly smiled and said, Just you wait. I will crush your son the same way I will. How dare you? Ouyang Zhan was so heavily injured, and he was extremely unhappy. If Qiu Wandao had not appeared, he would have already twisted off Long Fei's head. Law enforcement agencies' punishments for Long Fei made him extremely furious. If Long Fei were to mention Ouyang Jian now, the anger in his heart would burst like gasoline from a tank, and his entire body would explode. Long Fei laughed. I am being presumptuous. What can you do? The atmosphere became tense again, as if they were ready to fight at any moment. 19 quickly shouted, Enough! 19 said, Long Fei, you can ask Qiu Wandao if you want to establish a college of martial arts training. He once wanted to establish a new one, but he failed in the end. He should be more experienced. All right, today's matter ends here. No one is allowed to talk about it. 19 controlled the scene and could not let them fight again. Otherwise, they really would not be able to control themselves. Long Fei looked at Qiu Wandao. Qiu Wandao's gaze darkened slightly. The establishment of the College of Martial Arts Training was the pain in his heart. The many chairmen were also stunned. They did not know that Qiu Wandao's attempt to establish the College of Martial Arts Training had failed. Get out of the way, 19 shouted to the crowd, blocking the door. Long Fei looked at Qiu Wandao and said, Presbyter Qiu, let's talk when we return. Following that, Long Fei looked at Aoya and extended his right hand, saying, Follow me. I can carry you flying. Aoya looked at Long Fei, looking at him very seriously. Long Fei was also looking at Aoya, his heart somewhat excited. Will it be completed? Will it be completed? Aoya replied, College of War Martial Arts has already expelled me. I already have nowhere else to go. Are you sure you want to take me in? Yes, yes. Long Fei answered firmly. Aoya stretched out her right hand, gently placed it on Long Fei's palm, and said, I'll go with you. It was not because of the sword Long Fei had gifted her, nor was it because she was homeless, because she wanted to become strong. When Ouyang Jian was able to defeat her in one slash, she wanted to become stronger even more urgently. Long Fei was the only one who could make her stronger and improve her insight into sword method. She needed Long Fei's help. Long Fei tightly gripped Aoya's hand and said with a bit of excitement in his heart, Since you're already holding hands, you should have completed the mission, right? The system didn't reply after a few seconds. It was the same. The mission was not completed. Long Fei bitterly thought in his heart and thought, Must I really help her take revenge in order to complete the mission? There are so many elders in Palace Question of God. How do I know which one? I want a toast. However, if he could bring Aoya with him, Long Fei wouldn't have to worry too much about completing the mission. Even if he couldn't avenge her, he would still have a way to deal with her. If it didn't work, then he would use a forceful method. If the matter of the Overlord forcing himself on the bow became urgent, Long Fei could really do it. Seeing Long Fei holding Aoya's hand, Ouyang Jian was so angry that he vomited blood repeatedly, his face turning pale white. Bitch, Long Fei, you and I are irreconcilable." The disciples of the College of War Martial Arts also watched with eager eyes as Long Fei led their goddess out of the College of War Martial Arts. Their hearts shattered. It was too hard. Why? Why did you fall for his wild boar? My goddess, how could you abandon us? His heart was incomparably bitter. Ouyang Zhan looked at Long Fei's figure that was getting further and further away, his eyes narrowing slightly. Clenching his fists tightly, the killing intent in his heart was extremely strong. "Kid, just you wait. Law enforcement agency will protect you. Palace Question of God will protect you, but no one can protect you in the arena of the Academy's tournament. You won't be able to play around for long." Chapter 892, Impossible. Chapter 892, Impossible Logistics Department. This was Long Fei's only stronghold. To challenge the 18 matrial halls, it could be said that he had offended everyone in the entire God Emperor Academy, and right now, it was difficult for him to even take a single step. No matter what they did, people would always come out and stir up trouble. He had prepared these mental equipment long ago. "Presbyter Chiu, just how do you want to establish your own college of martial arts training?" Long Fei was very determined. If he wanted to do something, he would do his best to do it. Only by establishing the College of Martial Arts Training would he be able to expand this place. Only then could he truly nurture his own faction. Long Fei thought that the punishment that the Supreme God had imparted to them would not be tampered with for at least 2 years. However, after what happened today, he realized that he was wrong. It was outrageously wrong. Pan family had never stopped. God Emperor Academy doesn't seem to have anyone from the Pan family, yes, but the entire God Emperor Academy was mysteriously captured by the Pan family, and all of the 18 great matrial halls as principals were Pan family's people. The Pan family had a deep grudge against the Long family. He must ensure that the Long family would never be able to get back, and he must ensure that Long Fei would never be able to crawl back up from the abyss. This made Long Fei want to quickly build up his own power. In front of him were the Pan family, their Palace Question of God, their Western Desel territory, and even the dark domain that held Song Qianqian. These were not things that he could handle alone. Long Fei was very clear on this point. He had to establish his own power. An urgent need. Qiu Wandao looked at Long Fei's serious expression and thought to himself slightly, "He's exactly the same as Old Master." Back then, he was also so anxious, but that year, it was not because he wanted to create a new college of martial arts training, but Long Fei's father, Long Zhanting. He was just the executor. However, he had failed. He failed very thoroughly. It was simply impossible to build a new college of martial arts training in the God Emperor Academy with just the power of a few people. Back then, Long Zhanting was a powerhouse of the fitted realm. The proof of failure was that without a strong economic support, with a strong power as the backer and a super powerhouse as the backer, it was impossible for them to succeed. The establishment of the College of Martial Arts Training was akin to burning money. Economic expenses were the headaches for a martial artist, and it was also the matter that caused them to be unable to make ends meet. Then there was the matter of powerful forces. Moreover, just having a strong force supporting you is not enough. You still need to have a super powerhouse as your backer, because if you want to establish a college of martial arts training, you have to endure the attacks from the 18 great matrial halls and crush them. A literary battle, a martial fight, a pill fight, a weapon fight. Every college of martial arts training had their own specialties. They would use these specialties to bombard him. As long as you lose a match with the College of Martial Arts Training, don't even think about establishing your own. This was secondary, because they were all follow-up matters. Qiu Wandao looked at Long Fei and said, "Creating a college of martial arts training is the most difficult thing to do in the entire God Emperor Academy. His difficulty level isn't inferior to an SS grade super mission. Long Fei, you'd better not waste your time on this." He tried to establish the College of Martial Arts Training, but he failed. He did not want to see Long Fei fail as well. Otherwise, both father and son would have failed. Long Fei persisted, "Presbyter Chiu, just tell me." Qiu Wandao let out a long breath and said, "The first step of establishing the College of Martial Arts Training is to have 5,000 points in the Academy tournament. These 5,000 points cannot be accumulated. It can only be accumulated by a tournament. Just this point alone is enough to scare people off. 5,000 points. Unless you can use 3 big matches to get first place and also get a super divine score, it's impossible to achieve 5,000 points. 2. The establishment of the College of Martial Arts Training requires you to complete a super mission, which varies from person to person. It might be because of the high difficulty of the mission, or because it might just be a mission to collect a type of Tier 1 immortal herb. After completing the mission, you will receive the College of Martial Arts Training Medallion. The College of Martial Arts Training Token is used to establish the College of Martial Arts Training Token. Only with this token can you choose a place in the God Emperor Academy that you can set up the College of Martial Arts Training. Regarding the establishment of the College of Martial Arts Training, the God Emperor Academy will not give you a single cent. You will need to gather all of them yourself. These are the simplest 3, Qiu Wandao slowly said. Just these 3 tasks alone were extremely difficult. Qiu Wandao faintly said, if College of Martial Arts Training is that easy to establish, then there will be more than just 18 College of Martial Arts Training S. Long Fei, listen to my advice. Give up on the idea of establishing a College of Martial Arts Training and focus all your time on cultivation. Your current breakthrough speed is indeed fast, but it is far from enough, and you will not be able to bear the burden of being a Long family. Long Fei pondered for a moment. 5,000 points. A task that varies from person to person. Capital. Long Fei muttered to himself. It's indeed not a small problem. Long Fei looked at Qiu Wandao. In his heart, he had a question he wanted to ask, but in the end he couldn't hold it in and asked, did my father ask you to establish the College of Martial Arts Training? If Qiu Wandao founded the College of Martial Arts Training, it was impossible for the 18 generations of College of Martial Arts Training S to not know of it. There must be a secret behind this. Qiu Wandao was startled and stared blankly at Long Fei. She stayed silent for 2 seconds and said, since you've guessed it, then I won't hide it anymore. It was your father who asked me to establish the College of Martial Arts Training. In the past, your father did not succeed, even when he was a powerhouse of the fitted realm. You are only a virtual immortal stage now. It is impossible for you to succeed. Long Fei smiled faintly. As expected, Long Fei's expression became somewhat agitated and asked, where's my father? Is my mother also a mortal domain? Are they all right? I really want to know. More than anything, one of the important goals to enter the immortal domain was to find his father. Qiu Wandao looked at Long Fei and shook his head. I don't know. Long Fei, I can't tell you anything right now. I can only tell you one thing. Your father is still alive, and I don't know about your mother's words. Only your father knows. Ha! I knew it. I knew they were still alive. The boulder in Long Fei's heart was gently put down. When he was at Western Desil territory, his father's words made him think that his father had already been killed. If Qiu Wandao said that his father was still alive, then he must still be alive. Long Fei did not continue asking, and said, Presbyter Qiu, if you can meet my father, please tell him that grandfather misses him. Also, if he didn't finish it, I will definitely finish it. If he didn't finish it, I will definitely finish it for him. Long Fei's gaze was incomparably resolute. Hearing the news that his father was still in this world, he was incredibly happy as a child. He had been an orphan in his previous life, but now he finally had a father that was still alive. Furthermore, since his father had always been protecting him in the dark, Long Fei would do everything he could to cherish this hard-won family love. Do your best to cherish it. Chapter 893, Black Knife has come. Chapter 893, Black Knife has come the next day. The God Emperor Academy's wine cloud list was entirely related to Long Fei's ferocious achievements from yesterday. Disciple of the Logistics Department, 1 person against 14 College of Martial Arts Training. Those who were once rejected by the 18 matrial halls now rise out of nowhere and fight against 14 College of Martial Arts Training S one-on-one. With complete victory, Goddess of the College of War Martial Arts, the 3rd-ranked beauty of the God Emperor Academy, Aoya, was conquered by Long Fei and all of the young men's hearts were broken. For the past 100 years, the number one of the Nantian region S, Long Fei, has proven with his own strength that the Nantian region is not a useless place. Long Fei, Long Fei. Every message crazily refreshed the rankings. Every single one of these lines caused countless people to discuss about him. The entire God Emperor Academy was talking about him. Some were jealous that Long Fei was able to bring a beauty home, and some were ridiculing his arrogance and conceit and offended him in public. At that time, he would definitely die miserably. However, this storm of events was not the number one on the wind and cloud ranking. The first place was held by the Unified Battle Alliance of the 18 Great Matrial Halls. Together, the true alliance was only a covert alliance in the past, but now it was an open alliance. The alliance only had one goal: to stop Long Fei. They would definitely not give Long Fei the slightest bit of hope to rise to power, and even more so, they would not give him the chance to establish a college of martial arts training. Of course, this was Pan family's intention. Only the Pan family could form an alliance with the 18 generations of college of martial arts training. If you want to play, then play to the death. During the God Emperor Academy's assessment, Pan family could be said to have lost miserably. All 100 elite disciples and several life elders were all killed by Long Fei. Pan family would definitely not give Long Fei even the slightest bit of hope in the Academy's tournament this time. Young Master Long, we just received news that the 18 Great Matrial Halls has formed a battle alliance. This time, they're going to take care of us. Sun Datu hastily ran into the courtyard. Although he didn't need to go to the other college of martial arts training to clean up, he was still a top-notch expert when it came to finding information. The Sun Datu continued to speak. I have received news that the headmasters of the 18 Great Matrial Halls have all mysteriously disappeared from the God Emperor Academy last night. Pan family. Long Fei's eyes turned sinister. He was truly guiding Aoya with her insight into sword skill. Hearing what the Sun Data said, he clenched his fists tightly and smiled. Seems like this time, we're not only going to deal with the Green Dragon Matrial Hall, the White Tiger Kung Fu Tribe, the 18 Great Matrial Halls, and the Pan family, who is controlling us from behind the scenes. Aoya kept her revenge and said faintly, I heard that Pan family and your Long family have an irreconcilable feud. This time will they? Long Fei laughed lightly and said, Don't worry, I have a lot of enemies. Was the Pan family as strong as he was? Was he as strong as the Western Dessel territory? Will there be a future calamity for the Dragon Domain? Compared to all of these, the Pan family was nothing. Long Fei smiled slightly and said, You like to play, right? Let me see how long you can play for. The God Emperor Academy competition this time was different. Long Fei's team ranking tournament. Personal qualifying fight. No need to register. Any disciple of the God Emperor Academy S can participate. And there's also the Alchemy ranking tournament. So I must take down all 3 great competitions and use them as a springboard for Long Fei to ruthlessly suppress Pan family's arrogance. You want to play with me? Then let's see who can outdo who. Long Fei laughed excitedly. The more difficult it was, the more excited Long Fei became. The 18 Great Matrial Halls was very hard to deal with, but now with the incomparably large Pan family erected behind the scenes, it could be said that it was practically impossible for Long Fei to achieve any results in the large competition. This was because the strongest disciples of the 18 Great Matrial Halls would have to snipe his footsteps in every direction to prevent him from obtaining any ranking, let alone obtaining 5,000 points to establish the College of Martial Arts Training. Difficult. It was as difficult as ascending to heaven. At this time, in Long Fei's room, Song Qianqian walked out, her face still pale white, and said while looking at Long Fei, Let me join your arrogant dragon squad. Long Fei turned and looked at Song Qianqian. Aoya was also stunned. She looked at the veil covering her face, but her eyes were filled with shock. It was clear that the person beneath the veil was a peerless beauty. So beautiful, she could not help but say. One woman was so beautiful that she could make another woman praise her. That was true beauty. Long Fei said, You're awake? Song Qianqian said, Long Fei, Let me join your team. Long Fei replied, Your identity. Song Qianqian smiled faintly and said, Actually, I have long since been a disciple of God Emperor Academy. It's just that I have not entered any college of martial arts training. As she spoke, she took out a wooden token for the identity of a God Emperor Academy disciple. During Long Fei's assessment, she had used her relationship to become a disciple that was accepted by the God Emperor Academy, but she mysteriously disappeared afterwards and never found her. However, her identity was always on record. Long Fei became excited and said, From now on, you're a member of the Arrogant Dragon Squad. He had long since asked Song Qianqian to join his team. With a valiant powerhouse like Song Qianqian, the strength of the Arrogant Dragon Squad would increase by a large amount. It was also at this time, there stood a person at the entrance of the logistics department. A person carrying a small bundle who looked like he was running away from home. Ling Long. Ling Long giggled and said, Senior brother, can you count me in? Aoya looked over and was shocked when she saw Ling Long. What a cute little girl. She looked at Long Fei again and thought to herself, what sort of charm does he have? Can make so many beautiful women want to stay by his side? She didn't understand. At least, she didn't understand now. Long Fei looked at Ling Long and said, Little girl, stop messing around. Ling Long pouted her lips and walked in a logistics department and said, I have already been expelled from Elixir Martial Arts branch. If you don't take me in, I don't have a place to go. Senior brother, you don't want to see me live on the streets, right? While she was talking, Ling Long revealed a pitiful look with tears in her eyes. To Long Fei, this was a critical strike. Long Fei's heart immediately softened as he said, All right, I'll count you in. Ling Long immediately jumped up in joy and made a victory gesture with her hand. Yeah, he was beyond blissful. In another place, God Emperor City, God's Phoenix Pavilion, a middle-aged man carrying a black box on his back and holding a little girl in his hand. A group of fierce-looking fugitives followed behind him. Fu Tianlong frowned. Pan family isn't giving anyone a way out, right? Yet you sent so many people to cause trouble. Do you really think that we are soft persimmon, to pinch and pinch as you please? Fu Tianlong's heart was filled with anger. He walked forward huffily and shouted, Who sent you here today? Is it the 9 Business Union or your Pan family's master? The middle-aged man was startled. His head was full of fog as he said faintly, It was Long Fei who asked us to come to the God's Phoenix Pavilion. This is the God's Phoenix Pavilion, right? Fu Tianlong's eyes widened and he immediately asked, Did young Master Long let you come? The middle-aged uncle said, My name is Black Knife, and we are rushing over from Shili Desert. Chapter 894, Lifestyle Cultivation. Chapter 894, Lifestyle Cultivation, Leader's Son. Give these to Presbyter Chio and the others. They know how to divide it. This time, Long Fei took out the item that he dropped from Transu and gave it to him. Among them, there was the immortal foundation that Chun Tianfei needed. There were also other pieces of equipment. Did not know what happened either. In terms of cultivation, Long Fei could not help them, but in terms of materials, he would do his best to help them. Leader's Son said, I will do it right away. Long Fei reminded them, Leader's Son, during this period of time, don't go out and collect information either. Here are 140 variant crystal nuclei. If you send 10 of them out, don't bother with its value. If you use this variant crystal nuclei to cultivate, I believe you guys will be able to break through as well. Towards brothers, Long Fei would never be stingy. This was something unique to the variant crystal nuclei S. In the entire God's martial continent, most likely only Long Fei had these 1,000 or so variant crystal nuclei, whose value was even greater than immortal crystals. Leader's Son looked at the glittering crystals. Even if he had never seen them before, he knew that these things were not simple. Long Fei disdainfully replied, There is no such thing as thank you between brothers. You are not allowed to say it again in the future. Go and do something. The people of Sun Dadu treated Long Fei well and gathered all sorts of information for him. He had to help the people of the Leader's Son increase their cultivation a little. Sun Datu turned and left. Midnight, in the small forest beside the logistics department, Long Fei took out the God's Devil token. The idea moved and said, "Enchanted." 1,000 points disappeared. Long Fei transformed into an extremely ugly sky demon. Her body was covered with all kinds of black bone spikes, like a hedgehog, but these black bone spikes were filled with dense energy. This was the side effect of cultivating the God's Bone taboo. Even the God's Devil body could not change this point. Who? Long Fei let out a deep breath, felt the chi inside the sky demon's body, and said lightly, although the God's Devil body did not cultivate much, the sky demon's physical body was stronger than humans, and I've already cultivated the power of the God's Bone taboo to the 6th level of peak realm. The sky demon's power should have reached the blood immortal stage, right? Buzz! Long Fei entered the God's Devil space and shouted, "Ancestor, 9th floor, God's Bone taboo, open the 6th level for me." Boom, boom. The black bones on the sky demon's body suddenly became thicker, as if his entire body was about to undergo a metamorphosis. The powerful energy of God's Bone taboo started frantically growing in his body. The 6th level was almost unable to bear it even at the time. Moreover, Long Fei had a feeling that if he were to cultivate to the 9th layer of God's Bone taboo, or to the Great Perfection stage, he might be able to transform into another demon. This was because the more he cultivated the power of the God's Bone taboo, the denser the monster-like energy became in his body. Of course, this was also his guess. The sovereign of the demonic way had obtained the God's Bone taboo first, but no one had managed to cultivate to the 6th floor, so Long Fei was the first person to do so. What could it be? No one knew, and it was the same for Long Fei. Big Day, Tashigata, Buddha palm technique. Boom! After slashing out with a palm, it was not done quickly, but was slowly released. Long Fei memorized every process and crazily comprehended everything in that process. The Big Day Tashigata had to be upgraded as well. The Buddha palm technique was indeed powerful, but when facing a powerhouse of the Golden Immortal rank, it was hard to instantly kill it, so he had to cultivate to a higher realm of the Big Day Tashigata, stronger techniques. The Thousand Blessings sect. The cooldown of the Big Day Tashigata was shortened by 10 times at God's Devil space. It was used once every 1,000 days and could be released once every 2 hours. That increased by more than 10 and more than 20 points each time. If he had enough power of Celestial S, he would be able to break through the 2nd level within a month. In addition, aside from the Big Day Tashigata, the Super Saiyan mode also needed to be upgraded. Although it was a mode system, it was more or less the same as a cultivation technique. He needed to break through continuously in order to break through the shackles and unleash the power of the even more powerful Saiyan blood vein. Super Saiyan, burn! Ah! Long Fei roared, but on the other side of the sky demon's body, other than his blood-red hair turning gold, his body did not change much. However, his strength was even stronger than that of his body. Every single black bone seemed to be burning, and his aura did not move. Naturally, he was lifted up by a force. Nine Eyes Force. Super Ashura Slash. Long Fei's aura moved, the 3 blades in his hands, his body sank. A powerful force slashed the 3 blades in the air. The space shattered, and in that instant, everything went dark. The system sounded out. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for comprehending Tyrant's Chi. Suddenly, too sudden, Long Fei was completely unprepared. He had always wanted to comprehend the tyrannical ambition, the domineering system exclusive to Sauron, but had always been in the midst of failure. Wow, you can even do that. System, I'm going to love you to death. Long Fei was extremely excited and quickly checked the tyrannical attribute. Skill path, tyrannical grade, king destructive power, 10 stars description, the combination of Super Saiyan and 9 Knives Force. A domineering aura is released, and the auras form a strong attack. If one's level is lower than player's level 3, they would be directly stunned. Description 2. Able to use a domineering aura to withstand pressure and crush people. Description 3. releasing a domineering aura, crushing the king. Ha ha! Long Fei laughed madly in excitement. That's the feeling, cool. Continue. Long Fei continued to train his skills. 18 great matrial halls. Pan family. Then let's see who can win the game. Let's see who can beat who to death. Long Fei was so excited that he almost went mad as he roared. Wash your ass clean for me. I'm going to activate Berserk mode and flip over one by one. Boom! In God Emperor Academy, Long Fei had no way to level up. Ordinary Demon Beast S. The mission could no longer satisfy his leveling needs. The only thing he could do now was to improve his own cultivation technique proficiency. Dark Dragon God Slash, Killing God Chop, Big Day Tashigata, Super Saiyan Wushuang, and so on and so forth. Long Fei trained with his life on the line. There was less than a month left before the large competition. He had to use all his strength to make himself stronger. This second was a bit stronger than the one before it. The proficiency skill was soaring. The power of the God's Bone Taboo was increasing crazily as Long Fei forced his way into the 9th floor of the God's Devil space. The heavenly demon power was incomparably surging. For the sake of the Academy's tournament, Long Fei was willing to risk his life. Chapter 895. Can you be a bit pure? Chapter 895. Can you be a bit pure? God's Devil Space's training ended. Long Fei did not rest immediately. Instead, he sat cross-legged and slowly summarized the things he had learned in the God's Devil Space. After an hour, Long Fei rested for a short 2 hours. At this time, the sky had already brightened. Insight into sword method. What I rely on is not my eyes. I rely on your control over the sword intent, my insight into the enemy through the sword intent. Each of my 3 weaknesses is stronger than the last. The final strike is very crucial. He is the combination of the 2 sword attacks from before. Whether or not he can unleash the slay will depend on the accumulation of the 2 previous swords and the final sword strike. Long Fei explained. Oya listened attentively. Song Qianqian also listened seriously, and Ling Long did the same. In a short day, the 3 of them had become bosom friends, and the 3 of them had quickly formed an alliance. It was impossible for Long Fei to even wipe away the oil on his body. In addition, I have to say that this set of steps is innately created for the insight into sword method. One of its erratic movements will allow you to unleash the power of the insight into sword method. Long Fei said slightly, "Look carefully." Long Fei held onto a tree branch. His chi moved. His body started to sway frantically, swaying left and right, floating erratically, the sword technique in his hand piercing through the air. Each stroke was just right, just like the stroke of a divine stroke. At the same time, she was also grateful to Long Fei from the bottom of her heart, because it was Long Fei who had given her hope. Half a minute later, Long Fei's aura retracted, and he said, "Did you see it clearly? If there's nothing else, I'll continue to train." Long Fei was extremely serious like an instructor. Following that, Long Fei looked at Aoya and said, "Come to my room for a moment." Aoya was stunned. Her feet turned red. "Why are you going to your room?" Song Qianqian immediately asked. "Long Fei, what are you planning to do?" Ling Long also followed. "Senior brother, this is still broad daylight. Can you not be so dirty?" Long Fei was speechless. He looked at the 3 of them and asked, "What are you guys thinking about all day? Can't you guys be more pure?" I asked her to do something for me, so I told her to do it. "Do you think you guys can be more pure?" He was truly speechless. She was afraid that Long Fei would drag Aoya into the room and do some unsuitable things for children. However, of the 3 of them, Aoya was the one that Long Fei was unable to extricate himself from the temptation the most. However, Long Fei didn't have that thought at the moment. Song Qianqian's face reddened. She had thought wrongly. Ling Long stuck out her tongue and said, "Since it's an order, then we will go as well." Who would have thought that you would be so pure as to pretend? I heard about someone forcefully kissing Teacher Oya. Aoya's face reddened again. "Little girl, you are the most impure one." Long Fei had no choice but to bring the 3 of them into the room. Long Fei said, I am grounded. I shouldn't be able to leave God Emperor Academy. Aoya, you were previously an elder. Even though you were kicked out of the College of War Martial Arts, your elder status is still there, and you can enter and exit the God Emperor Academy freely. I want you to help me make a trip to the God Emperor City to find their master, Fushishan. Long Fei said, have her send someone to the Pill King Valley. We must definitely have all of the Medicine God Valley's people come to the God Emperor City, and also have them bring all their spirit grass. Originally, he wanted Man Toaluo to go there personally, but since Man Toaluo was currently in closed-door cultivation, he could only send someone to do it for him. While they were talking, Long Fei took out the last spirit burst pill and said, this is a keepsake. Also, tell my sister that there will be a group of people from Shili Desert who are my friends and will be entertained by her. Looking at the time, Black Knife and the others should be arriving soon. On the surface, it looked like academy competition, but in reality, it was the second competition between Long Fei and Pan family. The first time, Long Fei won, but the price was heavy, especially the Fengyuan Business Alliance, who had almost been completely crushed to the point where every step he took was already extremely difficult. This time, if Long Fei wanted to dominate the whole academy, if the academy wanted to win in the competition, he had to win in the battle against the Pan Clan Merchant Union. Long Fei took out a third-level variant crystal nucleu and said, give this to my sister and let her build up her momentum. I will make this kind of crystal core stir up the entire world in the academy's competition. Have her hold an auction the day after the academy competition. I will provide her with variant crystal nucleu, and also, Long Fei thought for a moment, then said, there's also the Zhuge Sword's fragment. Zhuge Sword is a sacred object of the immortal domain. Its destruction and death caused all the warriors in the immortal domain to feel regret. Long Fei originally wanted to use the Monarch set to build up his momentum, but the Overlord set was not familiar enough. If it was a Zhuge Sword fragment, it would be different. It can cause a sensation quickly. He might even be able to lure out the last 2 Zhuge Sword fragments. He had the blueprints. There were only 2 pieces missing, as well as the Sacred Sword Heart. At that time, the Zhuge Sword was recast. What was Pan Sheng's Pan Gu Sword worth? What did Pan Gu Axe count for? Crush them all. Moreover, Long Fei also had the divinity's divine weapon Sky-Burning Dragon Gun in his hands, an existence that could crush everything. Oya wrote them down and said, okay, I will do it right away. Receiving the things, Aoya quickly left towards the God Emperor City. Song Qianqian looked at Long Fei's serious expression. This was the first time she looked at a man so seriously. She suddenly realized that Long Fei was extremely handsome when he got serious. Song Qianqian slightly said, do you need me to do something for you? Long Fei said, I need spirit grass with all sorts of attributes. I need to create a type of pill that no one else can replicate. The people of Drug Race had not arrived yet, so he was in urgent need of spirit grass. He needed the spirit grass to make another breakthrough in the alchemy technique. Ordinary immortal pills were already insufficient. There were too many yes. He had to refine a pill that was unrivaled in the world. He wanted to use this pill as the base point to create a pill that Pan family could not create and cause a sensation in Fengyuan Business Alliance once again. Song Qianqian was startled and said, you want to participate in the alchemy competition? Long Fei nodded, and Ling Long looked at Long Fei with a face full of worship. Senior brother, do you still know alchemy? Long Fei smiled and said, there's still plenty that senior brother knows how to do. Ling Long's eyes twinkled, and she worshipped him even more. There was less than a month left, which was too short for Long Fei. He had to make comprehensive preparations, especially regarding alchemy, since he had to make a breakthrough. However, as for the new pill, he was still confused and had no idea about it. Song Qianqian looked at Long Fei and said, leave the matter of the spirit grass to me. At this moment, Yan Huang Ancestor slightly said, leave the matter of the pills to me. It's time for me to show my skills. What do you think about Chaos Realm's Holy Ply? Chapter 896, Human Grade Alchemy Medicine. Chapter 896, Human-Grade Alchemy Medicine Chaos Realm's Holy Ply. Long Fei immediately became interested and said, "Do you have a continent in the outer world that can refine Chaos Realm's Holy Ply?" The worlds of each plane were all different. The level of the Chaos Realm was obviously higher than the gods' martial continents. The pills in Chaos Realm can be refined in God's martial continent? Yan Huang Ancestor said indifferently. Of course not. Even if it is possible, God's martial continent does not have the spirit grass that Chaos Realm needs. F***CK. Then what the heck are you talking about? Ancestor, are you toying with me? Long Fei said in disdain. Just as he was worrying about not being able to figure out what kind of pill to concoct, he heard the patriarch's words and was immediately intrigued. In the end, however, he was unable to concoct any. Could they still play happily together? The Yan Huang Ancestor laughed and said, "Don't be anxious. While the Chaos Realm's holy ply cannot be refined here, we can improve it. With your current talent, you should be able to succeed. Of course, that depends on your luck. No other spirit grass could be replaced with other spirit grass of the same attribute. In addition, when they were combined and mixed together, they could definitely be refined. However, the development of a pill was not something that could be replaced with a sentence of the same attribute. It required countless experiments and a very long period of time before it could be successfully refined. It was also possible that he would never succeed. This was a very normal thing to do. If not the gods' martial continent had some ancient pill formulas, they would not have been able to concoct pills. Yan Huang Ancestor asked, "Brat, the research and development of pills, and the fact that the pills from Chaos Realm have a certain amount of risk, I'm only providing a reference. You have to think it through carefully. After all, there are only 20 or so days left." It was impossible to improve the holy ply of the Chaos Realm. Long Fei said without any hesitation, "Just Chaos Realm's holy ply." I knew it. Ordinary pills aren't enough at all. They'll definitely be copied by those abnormal fellows from the Pan family, just like Long Yang Pill S. With the lesson from last time, Long Fei would definitely not give the Pan family another chance to copy his medicinal pellet. He would never make such a mistake again. Yan Huang Ancestor said, "Since you've decided, let's start quickly. I'm worried that we won't have enough time." Long Fei nodded and said, "I understand." Song Qianqian looked at Long Fei and muttered. He asked Long Fei what's wrong. Long Fei shook his head and said, "I need spirit grass with all sorts of attributes. If possible, if you can get them, bring me as many as you can." The improvement of the medicinal pill was a traditional method of breaking this rule. It required countless experiments. Perhaps he would succeed, or perhaps he would fail. However, Long Fei didn't have any choice. Once the Chaos Realm's holy ply was successfully improved, it would shock the entire gods' martial continent. Long Fei wanted to make the Fengyuan Business Alliance rise again and become the only agent in the world. Song Qianqian said, "All right, I will do it right away. I'll bring it to you before tonight." Ling Long looked at Long Fei and asked, "Senior brother, is there anything I can do for you?" Long Fei smiled and said, "There's no need." Morning. Long Fei made a trip to Qiu Wandao's courtyard, but the courtyard was very quiet. Chen Tianfei, Man Tuoyuo, Xiao Ying, and the others did not appear. The things that Long Fei had given them should be handed over to them. For the sake of the Academy's tournament, they were willing to give it their all. Qiu Wandao and Elderly in Green were ready to throw caution to the wind. Last time he had failed. This time, he definitely couldn't fail. For this, they were all desperately fighting. Long Fei also returned to the logistics department, giving them pointers. With the cultivation of the crystal core, their speed was like a dam releasing water, unstoppable. His speed was astonishing. Everything was going crazy. God Emperor City, Pan family's main courtyard. As the great clan elder, Panjan thought about it for 3 months because of the fall of more than 100 of the Pan family's elite disciples. This was a severe punishment on him. After coming out, he took down all the elders and dean of God Emperor Academy with lightning speed. Basically, the Pan family already had complete control of the God Emperor Academy. Panjan slightly sneered. You want to stop my Pan family from entering the God Emperor Academy? Can you stop it? There's still 26 days until the competition. The humiliation from last time will be repaid 1,000 times, 1,000 times. Pan Zhan thought of Long Fei. Clenching his fists tightly, the supreme force on his body released a loud explosion. In this period of time, his cultivation had also reached a new level. He became extremely powerful. Pan Zhan continued, Long Fei, why haven't I killed you this time? If you don't die this time, I'll change my surname to yours. The rage raged. He was very clear on the 18 great material halls of strength, even if it was more than enough to deal with Long Fei. With his protection, on the stage, life and death were decided by him, and he could not afford to not die. Half a year. For an entire half a year, Pan Zhan wished that he could tear Long Fei into pieces every day. Now it was finally going to be this day. An elder said, in the God Emperor Academy competition, the referee will be the elders of the Palace Question of God. At that time, will they? Palace Question of God had the highest authority. If all the elders were to help Long Fei, it would be very difficult to kill him. Pan Zhan smiled faintly and said, Don't worry, Pan Sheng has already settled these matters. With Pan Sheng's current cultivation, he is about to break through the golden immortal rank, and if he was given another 2 years, he will definitely become a Yuan Xian, or even an even stronger realm. In such a long time, there has not been a second Devil Slayer. Even if he did appear, he wouldn't be able to live for long. Pan Zhan laughed coldly. He did not care about some Western Desel territory. What Devil Slayer? In his heart, there were only the interests of the Pan family. The current Pan Sheng was being valued highly by the Palace Question of God, and the identity of the first Devil Slayer also allowed him to be above others. If the second and third Devil Slayer were to appear one after the other, then Pan Sheng's position would be slightly lowered. This was not what Pan family wanted to see. Thus, when the Devil Slayer appeared, he would think of all sorts of ways to get rid of them. Grand Elder. A group of people came to the God's Phoenix Pavilion 2 days ago, and after entering, they did not come out. This group of people are not from the God Emperor City, nor are they from the Fengyuan Business Alliance. What's his identity? I haven't found it yet. An elder reported. Pan Zhan's mouth hooked up as he said in disdain, Fengyuan Business Alliance? Humph. To think that he hasn't left the God Emperor City yet. What meaning is there in continuing to live with his last breath? Fushi Shan, since you want to rise so much, wait for me to finish off Long Fei. It's your turn to go to Fengyuan Business Alliance. I don't believe that I can't kill a small girl like you. Pan Zhan did not even put Fushi Shan in his eyes. The Pan family was no longer the Pan family of the past. Pan family's style of doing things was also not the same as before. This time, Pan family wanted to sweep everything with the power of thunder and let everyone in God's martial continent know that his Pan family was once the number one family, and now he was still the number one family. Chapter 897, Oya's Special Reward. Chapter 897, Oya's Special Reward. All sides surged. It was not just the Pan family's Dark Domain's Song Qianqing of the Western Desel Territory and Supreme God of the Western Desel Territory were extremely concerned about this competition. At night, Song Qianqian hurried back with an ugly expression. She handed a space ring over to Long Fei and said, All inside are spirit grass. Finished. She walked out of the room. Long Fei wanted to ask, but resisted in the end. She would naturally say what Song Qianqian wanted to say. Not long after, Aoya returned to the logistics department hurriedly and said excitedly, Long Fei, all of the people you told us are here. According to your instructions, I'll have them stay in the God's Phoenix Pavilion for the time being. The people sent to the drug race have also gone. I believe they will arrive within half a month. Long Fei shouted excitedly. Have the Black Knife arrived? Great! Long Fei was a little worried that the Pan family would take advantage of Fushi Shan and the others first. With the protection of the Black Knife and Dao Ba, he should be able to fend them off for a while. Not to mention, there was also the incomparably powerful Yinner. It was likely that her strength could sense half of God Emperor City. Aoya said, Black Knife, Uncle told me to pass on a message to you. He said that you can let go of the matters concerning your daughter first. First, complete the matters at hand. Long Fei said, Hee, once this is over, I will think of a way to heal his daughter's eyes. And then, Long Fei looked at Aoya seriously. Aoya looked at Long Fei's unmoving eyes and said slightly, What's wrong? Is there a flower on my face? Sigh. Long Fei sighed in his heart. Why haven't you completed the Sword Force King Kong's mission yet? Long Fei laughed and said, You look good. Aoya's cheeks slightly blushed. It's already so late. Be a bit more serious. The Academy's competition is not a joke. If you want to establish the College of Martial Arts Training, you must first obtain 3 Super Divine marks. Long Fei laughed and said, If I were to win 3 rounds of Super Divine evaluation, would you be willing to be my woman? It used to be. Oya did not agree, nor did she admit it. With regards to this King Kong, Long Fei was also forced to a corner. He could only use this tactic. Aoya looked at Long Fei, revealed a queen-like smile, and said, We'll discuss about it after you have won the 3 rounds of the Super Divine evaluation. Long Fei's heart trembled and thought, There's hope. Then it's a deal. Oya walked out of the room and suddenly turned around. I will give you special rewards if you can get 3 Super God points. Long Fei's eyes opened wide. Special reward? Wow. His blood immediately boiled, and the image of a child rolling around in bed appeared in his mind. For your special reward, I'll risk it all. Special rewards, what an exciting thing. He would definitely be able to take her down. Maybe 2 of my virgins are going to break. Ha ha ha. Long Fei laughed sinisterly in his heart. Yin Huang Ancestor disdainfully said, Abnormal. Long Fei replied, I'm willing, what about it? Yin Huang Ancestor immediately took out his trump card and said, Do you still want to refine the Chaos Realm's holy ply? Long Fei immediately became impotent and said, Ancestor, you are my blood brother, my blood uncle. I do not dare to be cocky in front of you anymore. I give 4. No, I swear it. Yin Huang Ancestor laughed complacently and said, That's more like it. Inside the God's Devil Space. Most of the pills in the God's Martial Continent are supplementary cultivation pills. The pills contain a strong amount of power of celestial spirit energy, and the higher the grade of the pills, the stronger the power of celestial spirit energy. When one is stuck at a bottleneck in cultivation, a small medicinal pill might be able to bring you a new world and allow you to break through your shackles. Medicinal pills are extremely important. In terms of cultivation, they are more important than anything else. The Yin Huang Ancestor said. Long Fei did not disturb them. The Yin Huang Ancestor continued to speak. The pills in Chaos Realm are about the same, but there's a type of pill that is not available in God's Martial Continent, so they shouldn't appear. Destiny Changer. Long Fei was startled. What's a Destiny Changer? The Yin Huang Ancestor explained. The life sea refers to the 2 places where the pubes and the sea of consciousness exist. The so-called Destiny Changer are to transform your sea of consciousness and the pubes. A single pill can allow your pubes and your sea of consciousness to evolve, improve, and allow you to quickly absorb the spiritual chi of heaven and earth. It's twice as fast as a normal warrior's speed. Holy T! Long Fei exclaimed, Isn't this too abnormal? What did double the speed mean? Sea of consciousness, what was the concept of a pubes evolving? Although it seemed like a small change, it was as different as the sky and the earth, especially when the pubes and the sea of consciousness changed. The stronger the pubes, the stronger its absorbing power was. If this pill was released, it would create an unprecedented sensation. Long Fei became excited and said, Ancestor, this is it. Hurry up and tell us how to refine it. He could not wait any longer. Yin Huang Ancestor said lightly, Even within the Chaos Realm, this kind of medicinal pellet is an extremely valuable existence. With your current alchemy realm, you still cannot control it, because the process is too complicated and you cannot control it. Right now, All you can do is to break through your alchemy technique at the Great Perfection stage and rise to the Great Perfection stage. At the very least, you will have to be at the 9th level of the Immortal rank. When Long Fei saw a proficiency that was in need of alchemy technique to level up, he let out a long sigh and said, "All right, then let's begin. God's Bone Taboo. Open the 6th level." Boom! The Sky Demon's body changed. Following that, Long Fei immediately rushed into the 9th floor of God's Devil space. At the same time, summoning his green dragon tripod, the idea moved, and the pill furnace started to burn crazily. Long Fei did not need a success rate. He just wanted the proficiency. Ding! Refining failed. Proficiency plus 12 points. Ding! Refining failed. Proficiency plus 10 points. Ding! The system beep echoed crazily. In the 9th floor of God's Devil space, alchemy technique basically did not need a cooldown time, and it did not consume much of the power of Celestial, so it only used up a lot of Long Fei's mental strength and the pressure that the 9th floor of God's Devil space had to withstand physically. Come! Boom! Long Fei then threw in another spirit grass. At the same time, Long Fei made use of his free time. Big Day Tashigata. Buddha Palm Technique. Blast for me. Ding! Big Day Tashigata proficiency plus 13 points. Super Saiyan mode come. He began to cultivate like a mad demon. Ayo, you cultivated the insight into sword skill over and over again. From her new cultivation, she had completely forgotten about her previous experiences. She then combined the ethereal footwork with her own. Again and again. Linglong was also cultivating, but she cultivated in Rosefinch blood vessel's power, and occasionally she would refine some pills. Song Chantian was also training, but she was unpredictable and sometimes she doesn't even see him. When she returned from the outside, her eyebrows were always knitted tightly. Sun Dadu and the rest were training desperately. Dao Feng and the others were also training desperately. All of them were here for the academy competition. This time, they were not going to face a single team, but the entire God Emperor Academy. Everyone was doing their best. Chapter 898, Danger Descends. Chapter 898, Danger Descends. Long Fei was cultivating with all his might. His people were all desperately cultivating. Panjan was also secretly making arrangements, and this time he would definitely not lose. He had to make it so that Long Fei would never be able to get back on her feet, and he had to make it so that Long family would never be able to get up. A powerful family was fighting against Long Fei alone. Not only the Pan family had also joined forces with the 9 business union. Compared to these powers, the God Emperor Academy was like a small ant. The Pan family was like a Pangu war god giant. That sort of power was untouchable even when looking up. Panjan liked this kind of absolute suppression. He wanted to use this kind of suppression to ruthlessly smash Long Fei to death in order to take revenge for the blood ocean that suppressed his Pan family all those years ago. Brat, just you wait. This old man will definitely shatter your body this time. Huh. Panjan waved his Pangu axe, slicing 18 thin cracks in the surrounding space. The Pangu axe was incomparably vicious. In Pan family, the level of Pangu axe was even higher than the level of Pangu sword. Is a true super divine war device. Long Fei had once seen it drooling. Half a month later, just as Long Fei had planned, a dozen or so elders from the drug race quietly entered the God Emperor city to meet up with him in secret. They had brought all the spirit grass in the Medicine Valley with them. Long Fei was the benefactor of their drug race, and he also had a deep relationship with their ancestor Pill King. After the spirit grass that the Medicinal Valley had brought along, Long Fei was also excited as he thought to himself, "All of you are here. Ha ha." The drug race was a very important move for him. He needed the drug race's help, because once the Destiny Changer was successfully modified, they would need to refine it. Long Fei simply did not have that much time, and thus, the reputation of the drug race was spread far and wide. Everything was going in secret. Continue to cultivate. Inside the God's Devil space, Long Fei's sky demon physique had undergone some slight changes, and his strength had become much stronger compared to half a month ago. There was a stirring in him. It was just like when a woman was pregnant. Sometimes it was especially intense. Even Long Fei wondered, could he have it? Although his stomach did not swell up, the surging force really made Long Fei feel as if there was a child moving inside his stomach. Fuck, a man giving birth to a child. And in a process where he doesn't get pregnant at all, what is he doing? Huff. I can't care so much anymore. Who cares if you have children or just giving birth to bones? I'm going to give it my all. I'm going to do it. Ah, Long Fei roared. God's bone taboo. Open the 7th floor. Crack. The black bones all over his body rushed out once again. It was as if his body was about to be torn apart by these black bones. The pain was unbearable. However, at the same time, he could clearly sense that kind of power of taboos. It was incomparably terrifying. Long Fei was unable to level up, but he could clearly feel that the god's devil body's power was increasing every time it broke through. He did not receive any restrictions from the experience system. If his strength broke through the shackles, he would become stronger. Bring it on. Alchemy technique. Boom. Long Fei controlled the green dragon medicine tripod in one hand and the spirit grass in the other. The spirit grass's attributes almost instantly reacted from his hands to his brain. Ding! Alchemy failed. Proficiency plus 14 points. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level. Immortal stage level. 5. Ancestor, you are already at the 5th stage of the immortal stage. Is that not enough? Long Fei would ask every time he leveled up. The Yin Huang ancestor shook his head. No, my control is still not enough. If you have not reached the 9th stage of the immortal stage, you will not be able to control this kind of power, and if you cannot control it, not only will you fail, you will also be severely injured. Your real face is not a god's devil body. So, if it is a god's devil body, you might be able to handle it. All right, then it's immortal stage level 9. Long Fei clenched his teeth and said, then let's continue. Again and again. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. Once, 100 times, 10,000 times, 100,000 times. It could be said that no one could be like Long Fei and repeat everything again and again without any complaints. Time slowly passed. The cultivation technique Long Fei was cultivating, the proficiency was slowly improving. Big Day Tashigata, Super Scion, Killing God Chop. These were all slowly improving. 1 day passed, 5 days passed, and 10 days passed. There were only 5 days left before the academy competition, and Long Fei was still cultivating her alchemy technique. Yin Huang Ancestor still did not say the method to refine the Destiny Changer. Long Fei was working hard. Yin Huang Ancestor was also working hard. Other than thinking of a better plan to improve the Destiny Changer, he was also crazily training those Hell Core. Compared to the Pan family, Long Fei's power was too weak. With just Shen Tianfei alone, Xiao Wandao and the others were far from being his opponents. The Yin Huang Ancestor had to train his Hell Core. After returning from his trip to the sea in Hell, Song Qianqian had given him 50 immortal crystals and 200 variant crystal nuclei. He did not devour any of them and gave all of them to the Hell Core. Hell Core might become a trump card. Another 2 days passed. A system notification rang out. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level, Immortal Stage level, 9. F***CK. Long Fei shouted. We're finally here, we've finally broken through. I'm about to go crazy from training. After almost a month of non-stop cultivation of alchemy technique, it was simply maddening. Yin Huang Ancestor also smiled faintly and said, then we can begin. We are at the 9th stage of the immortal stage. Kid, remember every detail that I have mentioned, as well as every attribute of the spirit grass that you need. Also, during this period of time, I have placed a large portion of your space ring into the God's Devil Ancient case for nurturing. It should be about time now. Yin Huang Ancestor slightly said, Kid, it's starting. Long Fei's heart trembled. He became serious and said, "Let's begin." There are only 3 days left. Improving a pill? Not to mention the holy ply of Chaos Realm. Even if the immortal pills of God's martial continent wanted to improve it, it would be impossible. Long Fei was doing something that was impossible to accomplish. Just like how he wanted to obtain 3 super divine scores in the academy competition, he wanted to build a new college of martial arts training. These were all impossible things. One thing, if you don't do it, it will never be possible for you. As long as he did it, it was possible. Pan family. The corner of Pan Zhan's mouth raised slightly, and he asked, "Have you guys heard about it yet?" An elder said, "It's all clear now. Long Fei has always been training in God Emperor Academy. Qiu Wandao has an elder to help him train his arrogant dragon squad." Pan Zhan laughed sinisterly. "You want to turn the tables? Brat, you're really thinking too much. I do want to see how you will participate in the ranking tournament and win when your arrogant dragon squad is crippled." Ha ha ha. And then Pan Zhan walked into his secret room. Disciple Pan Zhan greets Grand Elder. Chapter 899, Refinement Successful. Chapter 899, Refinement Successful people who become big don't care about small matters. To achieve great things, one must be vicious in heart and use any means at all. Pan Zhan was such a person. His way of doing things was insidious and ruthless. As long as it was an enemy, he could use any means at his disposal to attack them. Long Fei had been training with all his might this entire month. Then he would definitely not let Long Fei have it easy. Logistics Department. When Long Fei came out of the God's Devil space, his eyebrows were tightly furrowed. "I can't do it. I can't do it. I've tried over 3,000 times, but I still can't do it. I can't control it at all." Although the Destiny Changer used the Yin Huang ancestors' words to find substitutes for spirit grass of the same attribute, it would not miss a single strand of control over the attributes of the 18 types of spirit grass. It was truly difficult to fuse them together, and Long Fei did not have that much power to control them. Even if he could control it, even if Long Fei could succeed in refining it, so what? If this pill was not produced using energy, it still would not work and would not achieve the effect that Long Fei wanted. He had to improve it to the point where even the elders of the drug race could easily refine it successfully. Only then would he be able to mass-produce Destiny Changer S and earn money crazily. Yin Huang ancestors said, slightly, "Don't be in such a rush to improve it. You have to refine it first. Only by refining it successfully can you learn from your experiences." Long Fei exhaled and said, "Amen. I will do my best." There are only 2 days left. Long Fei was also starting to worry. He was not afraid of the alchemy competition at all. He was just afraid that he would not be able to complete the super divine evaluation. Returning to his residence, Leader Sun walked over and reported a few things. 18 great matrial halls has formed a unified alliance. Young Master Long, the battle team ranking tournament you participated in, personal qualifying fight, and even the alchemy battles have all received special care. Green Dragon Matrial Hall, Vermilion Bird, Black Tortoise, and White Tiger have formed the strongest 8 teams to block you with all their strength. The other 14 College of Martial Arts Training S will also do their best to stop you. This time, you're the only one they will target, and we will be facing the entire God Emperor Academy. Leader Sun slowly said. The situation had developed beyond their imagination. To fight against the entire God Emperor Academy? This had never happened before in the history of the establishment of the God Emperor Academy. So no one had ever succeeded. Long Fei did not feel surprised. So what if the whole world treated him as their enemy? If they stopped him, they would only become the driving force behind his efforts, and he would only be able to step on them. Long Fei asked, "How are Dao Feng and the rest?" "Any news?" Leader Sun said, "I went over this morning, and they're still in closed-door cultivation." Presbyter Qiu said that they will definitely come out before the competition. "Right. Arrogant Dragon Squad can't rely on me alone, so I need them too." Long Fei was very clear that a single person was not strong in a team. What kind of effect would a full 2 months of seclusion have? Long Fei was very much looking forward to it. Long Fei couldn't help but ask when he didn't see Aoya in the logistics department. Where are Aoya and the others? The leader's son replied. They left in the morning. I don't know where they went. Yesterday, Elder Aoya said that her insight into sword method had already matured. Challenge? Long Fei muttered softly and said, Leader's son, there are still 2 days' time. After they return, tell them not to go out again. Who knows if it will be dangerous or not? No one was allowed to get into trouble at this time of day. Leader's son replied, All right. When Long Fei returned to his room, his mind was still thinking about the refining of the destiny changer, and his mind was constantly working on the deduction. How do I refine it successfully? It's too difficult. Green Dragon Ancestor, do you know how to refine it? The Green Dragon Ancestor said slightly, Boss, everything depends on you. Fine, pretend I didn't ask. Long Fei brought this upon himself. He clearly knew that Green Dragon Ancestor would not tell him. He could not help but ask. Sea Dragon King muttered, Azure Dragon, do you know how to refine it? The Black Dragon Ancestor nodded his head and said, Sea Dragon King, have you forgotten that the Azure Dragon is the dragon race's #1 alchemy master? That's why he was sent to the powder tripod by the seal. Sea Dragon King disdainfully replied, Then you definitely know of it, right? If you know, just tell me. Green Dragon Ancestor became silent. Blood Dragon Ancestor followed. Alchemy said it won't kill you, right? Big Brother Azure Dragon, can you not be so persistent? Everyone looked at the Azure Dragon. As the #1 alchemy technique of the Dragon Clan, Azure Dragon naturally knew where the key point of the Destiny Changer was. There was silence for half a minute. Green Dragon Ancestor relaxed a little and said, Boss, try going against the rules. Green Dragon Ancestor's voice suddenly sounded. Long Fei was shocked. Retrograde. Suddenly, his limited thoughts suddenly opened. Damn, so that's how it is, huh? Destiny Changer are pills that could defy the heavens and change fate. Even Chaos Realm's Destiny Changer are hard to refine, so the lack of high-level spirit grass in God's Martial Continent is definitely even more difficult. Reverse. Reverse. Haha. Long Fei became extremely excited and said, Azure Dragon, thank you. His thoughts immediately broadened. The more you think about it, the more you get stuck in your mind like a bull's eye. If you can get out of your mind, you might be able to see a different effect from another perspective. The Azure Dragon's words woke Long Fei up. It made everyone's blood boil in an instant. And then, Long Fei closed the door and faintly said, Let's try out a new set of alchemy techniques. Half a minute later, Long Fei was shocked. Just a little more, just a little more. Ding! Refining failed. This failure did not make Long Fei depressed, but instead made him incomparably excited. He had already touched the threshold of success. Again, ding! Refinery failure. Ding! Refinery failure. Every failure made Long Fei feel like he had taken a big step forward. Every failure made him realize the flaw in refining Destiny Changer. 2 hours later. Ding! Congratulations, player Long Fei, for creating Destiny Changer with 10,000 experience, 1,000 power celestial, 1,000 points, and a special reward. Pellet, Destiny Changer grade. Super Divine description. Raise the pubes' sea of consciousness by 1-fold. The user will be able to absorb the surrounding spiritual energy in a crazy manner for a short period of time, allowing the pubes' sea of consciousness to expand significantly. Ha ha! Long Fei was boiling. I finally succeeded. I finally succeeded. After a full month of desperately cultivating, he finally succeeded. Long Fei was incredibly excited in his heart. However, this was only the first step. He was at the 9th stage of the immortal stage to succeed, but the elders of the drug race S were not at such a high realm. How could he control them? After success was improvement. It was inevitable that the Destiny Changer would cause a sensation, but how could it be improved? This was the most crucial point. Chapter 900, Teach this kid a lesson. Chapter 900, Teach this kid a lesson for 2 consecutive days. Long Fei kept pondering about this question. However, In the end, he still could not think of a way to improve the Destiny Changer. Furthermore, the success rate of refining a Destiny Changer was only 60%, which was already a very high success rate for a super holy ply. But for Long Fei, it still wasn't enough. What he needed was a 100% success rate. Tonight is the last night. I must find a solution. Long Fei took out the spirit grasses and examined them. Each of the spirit grasses' attributes were once again understood in detail. This was his last night. He had amassed the plan to improve it. Deep in the night, in a valley in the middle of the divine Emperor Mountain. Whoosh! Whoosh! Two figures broke through the air. Their figures were like a gust of wind that blew past. The sounds were extremely soft, and even the people with good senses wouldn't be able to tell them apart. Two experts, super experts, were shuttling quickly through the forest. To others, they might not be able to sense their movements. However, for the Supreme Goddess in Outer Space Palace, their speed and aura were completely exposed. Beside him stood a reporting elder, 19. From the great void mirror, he saw two figures shuttling through it. 19's eyebrows tightened and said, "Supreme God, do you want to stop them?" Supreme God laughed coldly and said, "No need. The people of the Pan family are here to deal with Qiu Wandao and the others. As long as Long Fei is fine, we don't need to bother with other matters." He didn't care about the lives of others. As long as nothing happened to Long Fei, everything was fine. As for the people around Long Fei, it was unimportant. The Supreme God said disdainfully, "With just you, Long Fei, to build a new college of martial arts training, you just so happen to have Pan family's people take action against your people, which can be considered a lesson to you." Long Fei was very arrogant. Sometimes, being overly arrogant made him, the Supreme God, extremely unhappy. If not for the fact that Long Fei was the only candidate to become Open Dragon Domain, he would have been unable to endure it any longer. Seeing that Pan family was about to attack Qiu Wandao again, Supreme God did not have any intentions of stopping him and was instead very happy. It's time to teach him a lesson. Letting you find the Dragon Domain is not asking you to develop your own power and go against me. Long Zhanting failed to establish the College of Martial Arts Training. Do you think I will let you succeed? The God Emperor Academy said disdainfully. The God Emperor Academy was an accessory to the Outer Space Palace. He was also a subordinate of the Supreme God, so he wouldn't tolerate any power that opposed him getting stronger. Long Fei wanted to establish a college of martial arts training. Absolutely not. Just like how Long Zhanting had established the College of Martial Arts Training back then, he had only suppressed Qiu Wandao slightly, and his body was no longer complete as he killed him in the cradle. Supreme God slightly said, "Tomorrow, as long as you can guarantee Long Fei's safety, as long as he doesn't die, it's fine to sustain some injuries. This can also be considered a lesson for him." 19 nodded. "I understand." Then when those people become elders, the Supreme God sneered and said, "You don't have to care about them. They're all supporting the Pan family. This is also good, using the Pan family's power to help Long Fei clear his mind, letting him know that he is nothing in this world without my protection." Long Fei's breakthrough speed was indeed fast. His cultivation was indeed not weak. There had never been a powerhouse with a cultivation at the 8th stage of the virtual immortals that could defeat a blood immortal stage in the history of the gods' martial continent. However, no matter how strong Long Fei was, he would definitely lose the academy competition this time. There was no chance at all. 18 Great Matrial Halls was being controlled by Pan family, and it was rated as being controlled by Pan family. Now, even Supreme God had to borrow the strength of Pan family to suppress Long Fei. How did Long Fei win? It was impossible to win. 19 nodded and said heavily, "Yes, disciple. Remember, we can't let Long Fei win. I don't want to see him win 3 rounds of the Super Divine Evaluation, and I don't want to see him establish the College of Martial Arts Training." "Yes, sir." Boom, boom. With 2 loud bangs, Qiu Wandao and Elderly in Green were pushed back. An old man weakened and laughed coldly. Was the previous dean also so weak? The old man was very strong. His aura was at the Yuan Xian realm, and his aura completely crushed Xiu Wandao and Yu Yang. Xiu Wandao frowned. It's that Pan family's dog again. You're courting death. The old man was enraged. His steps were like lightning as he arrogantly rushed out. A powerful pressure was like a ferocious beast, crushing towards the two of them. Xiu Wandao coldly snorted, I'll be stomped once by you. I definitely won't be stomped twice. Buzz! The strange power in his body moved, breaking and forming a power. Elderly and Green was the same. Both of them were at the peak of the golden immortal realm. Although they were not as powerful as Yuan Xian, the energy in their bodies was extremely ferocious. The two of them charged forward. Boom, 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 boom. The courtyard was filled with the sound of explosions, and the beating could not be undone. Compared to a few months ago, Xiu Wandao's cultivation had increased too much. The Pan family was unable to hold on for very long, and his face was filled with shock. He was not faking it, but he was truly unable to withstand the pincer attack from the two of them. He fought as he retreated. Suddenly, rumble! A muffled sound came from the depths of the courtyard. Xiu Wandao's face changed. Luring the tiger out of its lair, this is bad. Ah! Ah! Consecutive, miserable cries came out. Xiu Wandao's expression became anxious as he said, Something has happened. Old ghost, you block him. I'll go back and support him. The elder from Pan family laughed proudly. You want to leave? Haha, you're thinking too much. I'm afraid they're all dead now. It'll be your turn soon. Pan family laughed out loud in satisfaction. As long as the other powerhouse succeeded and took down Xiu Wandao and the other two, it would be more than enough to kill the both of them. Thus, he did not allow Xiu Wandao to go back and support them, as he crazily shook the two of them. Rumble. The courtyard crumbled and turned into ruins. The Pan family started laughing complacently. Ha ha, they are finished. What arrogant dragon squad. They have become a dead dragon squad, huh? A powerhouse of the Yuan Xian realm. Under this kind of situation, Chen Tianfei and the others basically had no chance of surviving. Even if he was still alive, he would be seriously injured or even crippled. There was no other possibility. Xiu Wandao's heart was in a frenzy. His killing intent soared to the skies as he crazily rushed back. Pan family, this old man will never let you go. Ha! Xiu Wandao, you don't even have the qualifications to fight against my Pan family. And the Long Fei you were protecting, he is just an ant. He did not move for such a long period of time. He just wants to crush him in front of the Academy competition, in front of the entire God Emperor Academy, in front of everyone. He wants to use his profile picture to announce the return of our sky-separating clan's Pan family. At this moment, he was not finished. A loud sound came from the ruins, and an afterimage was thrown out. Bam! Puff! The afterimage was not that of anyone else, but the elder from Pan family, who had been blasted half to death. Chapter 901. Crippling Arrogant Dragon Squad. Chapter 901. Crippling Arrogant Dragon Squad. The great elder of the Pan family, the super powerhouse of the fitted realm, had actually been reduced to half dead. The other Pan family ranker thought that he was seeing things and was shocked when he confirmed that it was his fourth brother. Boom! His figure became a blur and landed heavily, supporting him up. Seeing his pale face and blood spurting out from his ruptured chest, the Pan family elder clenched his fists, seething with anger. Second brother, quick, let's go. There's an expert. He was well aware of his own strength and his own defensive capabilities. With his godly armor, he struck out from the ground with his palm, breaking the ribs on his chest. If it weren't for the godly armor, he would already be dead. Powerhouse would usually be able to react in an instant. The Pan family held fourth brother, looked at Xiu Wandao, and said, This is not over. Whoosh! He jumped into the air, turned around, and disappeared into the forest. Elderly in green shouted angrily, You want to leave? Let's see where you can go. He really wanted to chase after him, but was stopped by Xiu Wandao, who said, Save her first. With the fitted realm's cultivation level, even if they wanted to chase after it, it would be difficult, and what was happening below what was happening to Chen Tianfei and the rest was the main point. Boom! The ground suddenly caved in, revealing a deep pit. Ha ha ha! A burst of wild laughter came out from the deep pit. It was the unique wild laughter of the devils and the fat men Shun, and it was filled with disdain. The fitted realm is very powerful, right? F asterisk king, B asterisk tch. Go ahead and show lousy what you can do. I'll blast you to death if you don't do that. Xiao Wandao, an elderly in green, quickly ran to the edge of the deep pit. Looking at the 7 people standing in the huge pit, 7 of them with firm expressions and ferocious auras. Chen Tianfei, Man Tuoyuo, Xiao Ying, Dao Feng, Han Xueji, Wang Qingshan, Zheng Qingsong. 7 people who had been in closed-door training for 2 months. Everyone felt as if they had become a completely different person. The aura on their body was completely different. These 2 months of closed-door training were like a magnificent transformation. The world had changed. Xiao Wandao looked at the 7 of them and asked in astonishment, "Was it you who blasted that powerhouse out just now?" Man Tuoyuo did not answer. Instead, he asked the question, "Have they left?" Elderly in green laughed excitedly. "They left, they just ran away like sh*t. They are too pathetic." It was also at this time. Plop, plop. After a few consecutive sounds, Chen Tianfei's body became weak and fell onto the ground. Dao Feng, Wang Qingshan, Xiao Ying, and the others were all the same. It was as if he had collapsed. Puff. Because he was laughing so intensely just now, Chen Tianfei could no longer suppress it and spat out a mouthful of blood, his face turning extremely pale. Xiao Wandao's expression darkened. He immediately jumped down the deep pit and quickly took out a few healing pellets for each of them to consume and asked, "What exactly happened? What happened to you?" Man Tuoyuo weakly explained, "That palm strike earlier gathered all of the power of the 7 of us, and only then was that powerhouse sent flying. That kind of power surpasses ourselves and will also backlash upon us. We simply cannot endure it. The power of 7 people, the power of the 7 of them combined to form an extremely strong palm technique, which could only send the Pan family flying. However, this kind of palm technique was like the 7-injury fist. It could injure others and also injure oneself. Compared to the Pan family elder, the 7 of them were slightly more severely injured, especially Chen Tianfei. However, even though Fat Man Chen was weak, he was incomparably excited. Ha ha! To be able to send a super powerhouse of the fitted realm flying. We are simply too awesome. That uncle's teachings are really sharp. He was very excited. He was abnormally excited, and his excitement made the other 6 people excited as well. The powerhouse of the fitted realm, there was not a single person in the entire God Emperor Academy. Xiao Wandao was even more confused. That uncle? Could it be that other than us, there are other people training you? Also, how did you all gather the power of 7 people to form a palm technique and release it? It was hard to understand. At least, Xiao Wandao had never heard of this kind of palm technique. Gathering the power of 7 virtual immortals stage S and defeating the powerhouse S of the fitted realm. This kind of palm technique was too terrifying. Even if there were 100 of them, 1,000 virtual immortals stage warriors would not be enough to kill all of them. He was extremely afraid. He was pissing his pants. Chen Tianfei was startled and said, "You don't know? There's an uncle who has been guiding us all this time, and he even has a set of palm techniques for us." "What is the name of this set of palm techniques?" Dao Feng said, "God Binding Palm." "Yes, it's called the God Binding Palm. We've only practiced this kind of palm technique for 3 days, but I never would have thought that it would actually reach this level. It's too amazing." Fat Man Shun was extremely excited. Han Xueji said, "It is powerful, but it is also extremely powerful for us. Tomorrow is the Academy's competition. We are all heavily injured. How are we to participate in the competition?" As soon as she finished speaking, everyone fell silent. The super powerhouse who defeated the Pan family was indeed impressive, but what about tomorrow? Tomorrow is the Academy competition. How can he compete? Xiao Wandao was still muttering in his heart. God Binding Palm? That uncle, could it be? Is it the old master? Impossible, right? The old master is obviously in closed-door cultivation. Could it be that he has already come out? Qiu Wandao was secretly shocked. He seemed to be sure that the person who taught them the palm art was the old master. And also Long Fei's father. Long Zhanting. Qiu Wandao was overwhelmed with shock, and at the same time, he looked towards the elderly in green. He had the same thought. Their hearts were boiling with excitement. They did not know where the old master had been cultivating, so they were certain that the person who had helped Qin Tianfei was the old master. Boom! Long Fei rushed over. Seeing that the small courtyard had turned into ruins, the rage in his heart surged. He rushed to Qiu Wandao's side and asked, "What happened?" When he heard the sound coming from the mountainside, Long Fei had instantly rushed over. Looking at the fatty and the others in the deep pit, he became angry. They are from the Pan family again? F***CK. Long Fei scolded angrily. I'm ***. Qiu Wandao took a glance at elderly in green. His gaze communicated for a while, and then he said, Long Fei, don't be angry. The Academy's competition is tomorrow. You must enter it with all your heart and soul. Boss, we're fine. Just now, we sent a super powerhouse flying. The scene was too cool. It's a pity you didn't see it. Qin Tianfei said excitedly. Elderly in green furrowed his brows and said slightly, but what about tomorrow? Long Fei wants to participate in 2 matches at the same time. According to Ouyang Zhan and the others' personalities, team competition and alchemy matches will definitely be held at the same time. What should he do? Chapter 902, Heavy Suppression. Chapter 902, Heavy Suppression in the past school's tournament. Every tournament had a fixed time limit. Even if you participated in all of them, there wouldn't be any overlap in time. However, this year was different. The 18 great matrial halls discussed and changed the Academy's way of competing in the past. Moreover, the point was there were no changes to the other matches, only the team ranking, alchemy, and individual battles. The 3 major competitions would be held at the same time. There was no doubt that this was clearly aimed at Long Fei. It was aimed at him. Right now, Qin Tianfei and his group of 7 were severely injured, and it would take them 1 or 2 days to fully recover. In other words, only Long Fei, Song Qianqian, Ling Long, and the others were not injured in the Arrogant Dragon Squad. How could the team competition be compared? Comparable? Basically impossible. Qin Tianfei was severely injured, Dao Feng was severely injured, Wang Qingshan and Zheng Qingsong were both heavily injured. Amongst the 7 of them, only the 3 of them were slightly injured. However, if Qin Tianfei and the other 3 were unable to enter the stage due to their injuries, then Long Fei's plan would have all been thrown into chaos. Qin Tianfei's defense, Dao Feng's breakthrough, Wang Qingshan's sword technique, and Zheng Qingsong's array formation. These were all essential to Long Fei's plan. This time, Long Fei acted as if he had lost a hand. If the team competition lost, then he wouldn't be able to get 3 stages of the Super Divine score, and thus wouldn't be able to get 5,000. Thus, he wouldn't be able to establish a new college of martial arts training. Pan family's move was extremely vicious and directly stabbed at Long Fei's fatal point. At the same time, it also made Long Fei extremely unhappy. He clenched his fists tightly, and the killing intent in his heart became even stronger. Qin Tianfei forcibly stood up and said, Boss, I'm fine. I can still fight. Before he could finish his words, his body swayed unsteadily. If not for him supporting himself against the wall, he would have already fallen to the ground. How could he continue fighting like this? Qin Tianfei was very important. He was Long Fei's strongest defense, a super tank. He had originally wanted Fat Man Chun to lead the whole team, but now it seemed that it wouldn't work. And then, Long Fei immediately made a decision and said, the Academy's large competition will only be completed in 3 days. I don't need you to go on stage for the first 2 days. You have 2 days to recover. Finished. Long Fei took out a bottle of medicinal pellets and said, these are the pellets that I have refined during this period of time. There are a total of 10 of them. 1 for each of you. This will allow your pubes' sea of consciousness to grow wider, helping you to cultivate and recover. Presbyter Chiu, you guys take it as well. It's good for you guys. Chiu Wandao was slightly surprised for a moment and said, with our current realm, medicinal pellets are no longer of use to us. Using pills to cultivate was something that was needed for a basic level. With their current cultivation level, normal pills wouldn't be able to help them at all. Long Fei smiled slightly and said, you'll know once you've consumed it. I'll have to trouble the two of you to take care of Fat Min Chun. Xiaoying, Mantoa Yuo, Senior Sister Han, let's go. The three of them jumped out of the deep pit. Long Fei looked at Fat Min Chin's envious eyes and said, if you can't recover within 2 days, you think about it yourself. Fat Min Chin clenched his fists and said, boss, don't worry. In 2 days' time, I will definitely let you see a different fatty. As he spoke, Fat Min Chun said to Chiu Wandao, Presbyter Chiu, hurry up and teach us how to recover. I can't wait. What did you say? Chiu Wandao's residence is a trap? Fourth uncle, are you sure you didn't see wrongly? Pan Zhan's mind shook. Seeing fourth uncle Pan use pale face with blood hanging from the corner of his mouth, he was extremely shocked in his heart. If the Fitted Realm's powerhouse was this powerful, then how strong was the opponent? Pan Yu frowned and said, do you still doubt my eyes? Pan Zhan immediately replied, nephew would not dare. It wasn't that he was angry at Pan Zhan, but he was displeased. He said, I didn't think that a trash from the Nantian region would actually be able to find such a powerful expert to help. Furthermore, we don't even know who he is. He did not see clearly who had injured him. He also didn't see clearly how many people it was. He only saw an incomparably powerful palm attack coming towards him. His palms met it, but he was sent flying before he could even react. The power circulated in his mind, terrifying to the extreme. Pan Zhan frowned. He could not help but clench his fists and muttered to himself, looks like I must not give this brat another chance. This time, the dead zone will completely uproot him. Of course, Pan Zhan's killing intent was already firm. Pan Zhan said respectfully, fourth uncle, it's been hard on you this time. Rest well. I will take care of the rest of the matters. I will make Long Fei pay for it. And then, Pan Zhan left quickly. Since he had the help of the super powerhouse, he had to make some equipment as well. Palace Question of God, the Great Void Mirror. The 4 main forces were severely injured, and the arrogant dragon squad is basically crippled. Long Fei, how are you going to get first place in team competition? How do we get a super divine rating? Ha! The Supreme God did not want to see Long Fei become too strong, nor did he want to see Long Fei cultivate his own strength. Supreme God looked at the disciple beside him and said lightly, Pan Sheng, you cannot be like him, disobedient. Pan Sheng immediately replied, this disciple doesn't dare. It's good that you don't dare, Supreme God laughed and said, you can go down the mountain after another year of cultivation. You are Devil Slayer. You should help God's martial continent kill the demons and bear a heavy burden, understand? Pan Sheng replied, disciple understands. Supreme God smiled faintly and said, all right, you can go cultivate now. Pan Sheng immediately retreated, his heart secretly moved. Why does Master want me to see the thing inside the Great Void Mirror? Could it be he is no longer protecting Long Fei? If that's the case. The corner of Pan Sheng's mouth hooked up in excitement. Long Fei, I won't be playing with you this time around. And then, he quickly returned to his dwelling and sent someone to deliver a letter to the Pan family. Arrogant dragon squad's main force being thwarted, there was no need to worry anymore. It was enough to ruthlessly crush them. Moreover, he wanted everyone in Arrogant Dragon Squad to die in the stage. How great is it to investigate the secrets of the Dragon Domain for me? Why must you participate in some large competition to create a new college of martial arts training? Supreme God laughed coldly. He did not give Long Zhanting the chance to rise. When he found out that Long Zhanting was unable to control the open dragon domain, he mercilessly attacked him and pushed him into the bottomless abyss. To him, Long Fei was his last chance. Although he did not want to control Long Fei the way he controlled Long Zhanting, he also did not want Long Fei's power to grow, because the Supreme God knew very well that the people of the Long family had a unique power that could make people want to die together. He would definitely not allow Long Fei's power to grow. Chapter 903, The College Large Competition. Chapter 903, The College Large Competition. Swish. Rumble. Early in the morning, a sky-piercing cannon exploded in the air above the God Emperor. This was a sacrifice to the heavens. The principal of 18 great matrial halls, the elders, and a group of elite disciples kneeled down and kowtowed under the altar, begging the heavens to release even denser amounts of spirit energy, begging the heavens to let the gods' martial continent be at peace and harmony, begging the heavens would allow each of them to break through the shackles, break through the gods' martial continent's power of law, and enter a stronger domain. In Long Fei's opinion, asking for help was better than asking for help. Beg? On the path of cultivation, no one would give charity to anyone. They would only rely on going against the heavens and using their own strength to change their own fate. This was very fair to everyone. The ceremony ended, and then, S largest martial arts training ground, the 16 great entrances were opened wide. Other than the people from God Emperor Academy, there were also some rich and powerful people, nobles, and observing groups from the other realms who had spent a lot of money. They were the sponsors of the Academy's competition, and each of the consortia had to spend thousands of fairy stones in order to qualify to enter the God Emperor Academy. The Pan family was naturally one of them. Outside of Pan family, Fu Shishan spent 3,000 fairy stones to buy a spot for the observation team, as he brought Black Knife and the others to enter the God Emperor Academy. What a powerful aura. There's more than one, there's so many of them. Father, there's a great expert here. Yin'er was very happy, because she had never been to the God Emperor city before, nor had she simultaneously sensed so many powerhouses. She was surprised. However, her expression was not very happy, because she did not sense Long Fei's aura. Daoba also muttered, "Why didn't we see our boss come out?" Fu Shishan explained, "The one who has appeared now is the 18 generations of College of Martial Arts training, and he is also the ranking for the previous tournament strength. Long Fei is also a service disciple, and he doesn't have a ranking either, so he should be the last one to appear." The Heishan laughed out loud and said, "The boss is the boss. The last one to step up, it's the finale." Many bandits laughed. The surrounding crowd burst into a series of mocking laughs. "Country bumpkin, I don't know anything. I don't know where this trash came from. He doesn't even know the most basic things. The stronger one is, the higher the ranking. In the end, the ones that come out are some trash. You don't even know this, yet you're watching the God Emperor Academy tournament? Get the hell back home and drink some milk." Daoba was not in a good mood. The aura of a fugitive burst out from his body. He stared at one person and his eyes darkened. "Try saying another word. I will kill you." "Not all. It's fine to say him, but not if his boss, Long Fei, is a trash." As soon as Daoba finished his words, Heishan, Baldy, One-Eyed, and the other robust men all looked at him at the same time. That person's body shrunk like a tortoise shrinking its head inside, not even daring to let out a fart. Among these observation teams, there were many financial groups and families that came to the God Emperor Academy for only one purpose, which was to find the students of the God Emperor Academy that were about to graduate. Just like in the talent market, they were here to recruit. If a few disciples of God Emperor Academy could join, their power and influence would increase greatly. To their families, this would be a great resource for them, but they would also have a close relationship with the God Emperor Academy. It would be even more worth it. The disciples of the Green Dragon Matrial Hall have appeared. A door to the martial arts practice hall opened. Azure Dragon School. This was a gate specially set up for the Green Dragon Matrial Hall. Only the disciples of the Green Dragon Matrial Hall could go in and out of this place. It was the honor of their Green Dragon Matrial Hall. Ouyang Zhan walked at the front, with Ouyang Jian following behind him. He had fully recovered from his injuries, and his cultivation was even stronger than it was 1 month ago. Behind them were two large battle squads, a reassembled team. The first team was the Green Dragon Troopers, the #1 team, and this team had two identical people. Twins. The identical twins, the kind you can hardly tell apart. The moment they appeared, Yennefer muttered to herself in a low voice, "Demonic Chi, our God Emperor Academy, also retracting people from the infernal domain?" Her ability was very special. No matter how well one hides one's aura, even if one turns into a sloughing demon or turns into a human, she would still be able to sense that subtle aura. No one heard her, because the surrounding people were cheering for the people of Green Dragon Matrial Hall. Do you see this? This is the first squad's Green Dragon Troopers. They are all in the blood immortal realm, and each one of them is a terrifying existence. I heard that the Green Dragon Troopers' fighting strength has already exceeded 50,000 points, and all of the individuals' fighting strength is above 20,000 points. This is something that only exists in the history of the God Emperor Academy. Green Dragon Matrial Hall is indeed worthy of being God Emperor Academy's #1 college of martial arts training. He's an existence that no one could defeat this time. This is all because the principal of the Green Dragon Matrial Hall, Ouyang Zhan, is powerful. Other than these, they are all monstrous geniuses with extraordinary talent. The weakest among them are all upper-rank Bloodvein, and many of them are divine rank Bloodvein. Who's going to be the opponent of a team formed by all these monstrous geniuses? The White Tiger Kung Fu tribe has appeared. Blood Skeleton Battle Team. Wow, what a strong aura. This year's Blood Skeleton will charge into the top 3. After the White Tiger was the Vermilion Bird. The Black Turtle was here. The reason why the 4 Matrial Halls had appeared was because they had their own independent gate. This was because they were the 4 Matrial Halls, the strongest among all the 4 Matrial Halls College of War Martial Arts who followed suit. The remaining 14 College of Martial Arts Training walked into the arena one by one. It was like an entrance ceremony for a sports meet, and each time they appeared, it would attract countless screams, especially to some of the star-level powerhouse 18 great Matrial Halls, 18 arrays. The last phalanx to appear is. The host purposely paused. Everyone in the field started whispering to each other. Isn't God Emperor Academy the only one? Why is there a square formation? Could it be the law enforcement agency? That's not right. Disciples of the law enforcement agency are not allowed to participate in any competitions. Who could it be? Everyone was looking at the martial arts arena's entrance. The last one to appear is a disciple of the logistics department. The moment the host finished his sentence, the audience was stunned. Then all of them burst out laughing. Ha ha. And there's still the logistics department formation? Ha ha. Are they here to compete and clean up? I'm dying of laughter. Why would a service disciple participate in the large competition? Do they think it's a sweep? Many people were laughing at him. Yennefer asked softly, "Father, why do these people mock Big Brother Long Fei?" Yennefer doesn't like them. The faces of Fu Shishan and the rest were all filled with rage, especially Dao Ba and the rest who all stood up and started to curse. But their voices were completely swallowed by the voices of the tens of thousands of people. In another place, Xiaoying was not convinced. Why not let us in? The gatekeeping disciple sneered. Because you do not have the qualifications to enter through this door. Xiaoying said angrily. I'll let you know what qualifications are. Chapter 904, Pull Up the Wind. Chapter 904, Pull Up the Wind. All of them passed through this door, so why were they not qualified to go through here? Xiaoying could not tolerate such an unfair treatment. Just as Xiaoying was about to make a move, he was stopped by Long Fei. Let's change it to a normal gate and enter. The gatekeeper revealed a cold smile. If you had made a move on me just now, none of you would have participated in the large competition. Brat, at least you're sensible. Humph, a mere gatekeeping disciple dared to be so arrogant, and he also disdained Long Fei's group. This made Long Fei and the others suppress a ball of anger in their hearts. Long Fei did not care about what, but smiled faintly. Let's go. Xiaoying was unconvinced. Young Master Long, on what basis? This kind of person is just trying to get rid of him. Xiao Ying's temper had always been very bad. Long Fei said, if a dog bites you, if you go up and bite a dog, wouldn't that also turn into a dog? You don't have to do anything to deal with this kind of person. Once we take first place, he'll kneel in front of you. Long Fei slightly smiled, not putting the guards in his eyes at all. Where are the disciples of the logistics department? Why didn't he come out? He admitted defeat before even entering the arena? Don't not appear if you admit defeat. They still have to clean up the training grounds. The host said with a laugh. His words attracted the ridicule from the surrounding disciples and all the onlookers. A good service disciple should not have come to participate in the large competition. Isn't that courting death? A sparrow flying on a tree branch will always be a sparrow. It won't become a phoenix. Moreover, it might fall to its death if it flies too high. He really thinks highly of himself. Amidst the crowd's mocking laughter, Long Fei brought Aoya, Song Qianqian, Man Taoyuo, Xiao Ying, Han Shueji, Ling Long, Sunda, Fan Tong, and the rest to enter the training grounds. At this moment, the entire martial arts practice field slowly quieted down. They did not look at Xiang Long Fei, but instead at the women behind Long Fei. They were all peerless beauties with beauty that could topple nations. Moreover, Song Qianqian took off the veil on her face. She is the mysterious woman who was ranked first in the God Emperor Academy's beauty rankings. This is the woman who has only appeared once in God Emperor Academy. Oh God, they're all beauties, they're all people on the beauties list. Goddess Oya, it's Goddess Oya. Isn't that our elixir martial arts branch's little courtyard? Flower Linglong Jr. sister? Why did she also join the logistics department? Man Tuoyuo from the Spirit Poison Hall. War God College of Martial Arts Training's little chilly Xiaoing. They were all beautiful women. Moreover, when Long Fei and the others walked to the center of the training grounds, Song Qianqian took the initiative to step forward and hold Long Fei's arm. Aoya walked forward and held Long Fei's other arm. At this moment, Han Shueji, Man Taoyuo, Xiao Ying, and Ling Long all walked forward to stand next to Long Fei, looking charming, as though they were young women. The entire training field seemed to explode. Their group attack damage instantly broke through 100 million points. Even the cabbages have been eaten by a pig. Oh God, aren't you going to open your eyes and take a look? Who does he think he is? So many beauties like a man. If I were him, I would be willing to reduce my lifespan by 10 years. 20 years. I'm so envious. Long Fei was also slightly shocked. He did not think that Song Qianqian and the others could be this relaxed. The rhythm of flying. Song Qianqian smiled and whispered, Long Fei, don't we have enough face? Aoya followed up, Sister Qianqian, aren't you letting him off too easily? Man Tuoyuo said, on the account of the Destiny Changer, let's support him today. In the future, if he wants to continue like this, it will depend on his performance. Xiao Ying muttered, he's a scoundrel. The women chattered a lot. 3 women for each act, and the 6 women were able to directly act out a TV show. Long Fei said, about that, since you guys can let it go, why don't we roll in the bed together tonight? You wish. Young Master Long, you're really overthinking it. This. Long Fei felt his arm being raised up. It was so painful that he let out a miserable scream. If it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. Do we have to fight? It hurts. But to the people around, Long Fei's expression was incomparably envious. These women made everyone jealous of Long Fei. At the same time, they made everyone hate him. Dao Ba excitedly laughed. The boss is the boss. He is not a normal martial artist. Fu Shishan's eyes grew cold as a hint of jealousy surfaced in his eyes. It's been a few days already, and he already has so many female friends by his side. If I were to give him a few more years, wouldn't he be taking in all the beauties in the entire continent? Yinner giggled and said, Daddy, Big Brother Long Fei's cultivation has become stronger again, so much stronger. The Black Knife sensed it and said lightly, the people from Long family are indeed extraordinary. Long Fei's appearance, surrounded by beautiful women, was incomparably eye-catching. She directly overshadowed all of the College of Martial Arts training scenery, making the people of 18 matrial halls extremely unhappy, especially Ouyang Jian from the Green Dragon Matrial Hall. He stared at Long Fei, and his eyes were about to spew fire. He wanted nothing more than to tear Long Fei into pieces to vent the anger in his heart. "Brat, just you wait. Today I will make you die on the stage." Ouyang Jian looked at Long Fei coldly and said disdainfully, "Clown." At this time, a disciple whispered into his ear. Ouyang Jian frowned. He was secretly happy to think that they did not come. "Xiao Wandao, are you afraid to?" This is even better. "Long Fei, today is the day you die." Xiao Wandao, an elderly in green, did not appear. This made Ouyang Jian even more at ease. Using the 18 matrial halls' power to deal with Long Fei and the few women was too simple. An instant kill. The host shouted, "The people of the logistics department, please take your seats as soon as possible. The competition is about to begin." There were 18 square arrays on the 18 matrial halls. There were no extra places. Moreover, the martial arts practice grounds was packed with people. There was no place to sit down. Although Long Fei did not bring many people, no one gave up their spot for him. Long Fei asked slightly, "Where are we at?" The host pointed at a corner and said, "In that corner." Following his gaze, Xiao Ying was instantly enraged. This time, Song Qianqian was also furious and said, "How is that a trash place?" Not waiting for her to finish, the host sneered and said, "Aren't you logistics department's disciples? Shouldn't you be standing with trash? We can either leave the competition together with the trash or withdraw. Don't waste our time." The host shouted, not giving Long Fei and the others a chance to choose. Song Qianqian looked at Long Fei, and Long Fei clenched his teeth. "I'll endure it." Chapter 905. I decided to kill them. Chapter 905. I decided to kill them, huh? Ha ha. Seeing Long Fei and the others who were standing beside the trash, the people from 18 matrial halls laughed loudly. Trash is trash. Trash and trash, absolutely worthy. Fighting with our 18 matrial halls is only the beginning. You'll be in trouble from now on. You overestimate yourself. You want to challenge the 18 matrial halls? Let's see how we'll kill you today. Many of the senior disciples who had just come out of seclusion heard that Long Fei was challenging the 18 matrial halls and became more and more furious. From the entrance to the trash heap, it was always aimed at Long Fei. Unfair treatment? Not at all, because there was nothing fair to them. Long Fei suppressed a stomach full of anger. His heart was extremely unhappy, and the hearts of everyone around him were extremely unhappy. The disciples of the 18 matrial halls were waiting for the competition to begin, and it was the same for Long Fei and the rest. Yin'er seemed to have sensed the anger surging inside Long Fei's body, and she said faintly, "Father, how can God Emperor Academy treat Big Brother Long Fei in such a way?" Big Brother Long Fei's killing intent in his heart is very strong. The black knife lightly patted Yin'er's shoulder and said, "Yin'er, Long Fei will use his fist to prove everything." And Yin'er giggled and said, "Yin'er believes in Big Brother Long Fei." At this moment, the sky darkened and thick clouds split apart. It was as if the gates of heaven had opened. 8 golden figures descended from the sky like gods descending from heaven. It was incomparably mighty. The host excitedly said, "Welcome to Palace Question of God's referee team." At this time, everyone in the 18 matrial halls stood up. The 8 elders that descended from the sky were all peak golden immortal realm and powerhouse S of the fitted realm. The auras on their bodies were different from the auras of ordinary golden immortal peak realm S. Their auras were even denser. Ouyang Jian took a step forward and said respectfully to the Fairy Hall elder. The 8 of them landed one after another, each one of them carrying a haughty look. In their eyes, whether it was the God Emperor Academy or the foreigners, they were all mortals and they were all gods. In the eyes of God, mortals were but ants. At this moment, Aoya's body suddenly trembled. A strong killing intent was suddenly released from her body. The killing thought that Long Fei was cultivating instantly sensed it. Following Aoya's gaze, Long Fei saw a 50-year-old Fairy Hall elder and thought to himself, "Is that him?" And then, Long Fei gently held Aoya's trembling hand and said softly, "Don't be afraid. Leave everything to me." Aoya looked at Long Fei and said, "I'm not afraid. I'm just excited. I want to avenge my father and mother." Long Fei slightly said, "Rest assured, I will give you a chance." There was no escape from this mission. It was finally time. Long Fei was also getting impatient. After the Sword Force King Kong was the arrogant knife King Kong, the black knife uncle. Only the Arhut King Kong remained in 8 King Kong. The 8 elders of Hall of Immortals took their seats, led by an elder, and said, "Don't waste time. Let's begin quickly." The host immediately said, "This year's competition is different from the previous years. Because we have to save Fairy Hall elders' time, the tournament and alchemy competition will proceed at the same time." The battle list appears on the Blackstone's big screen. As soon as he finished, many people started discussing. Ouyang Zhan looked at Long Fei and laughed in his heart. "Long family, did you not anticipate this, that there would be 2 more matches you would like to participate in? I want to see how you do it." Long Fei laughed coldly and said, "As expected." Song Qianqian's brows tightened and said, "This is entirely aimed at you." Long Fei said, "It doesn't matter. This kind of competition is only the first 1 or 2. There's no need to worry about it if the sequence is chaotic later on, and today is only 8 matches. Do as I say. You will be the leader. You will carry out my orders according to my tactics." Long Fei slightly said. Song Qianqian looked at Long Fei and said, "Is there no change?" Xiaoing also looked at Long Fei and said, "Young Master Long, since they are targeting you like this, shouldn't we change something?" Han Xueji, Ling Long, Man Tuoyuo also looked at Long Fei. Long Fei said, "What changes do you all want to make?" Xiao Ying said straightforwardly, "At least crippled." Song Qianqian became even more overbearing. "If I had asked them, I would have directly made them kneel on the stage and sing Conquer." Long Fei was stunned. One was more powerful than the other, and the other was more violent. "However, you made me feel bad. Then I will make your entire family feel bad." Long Fei's lips curled up as he said, "All right, let them kneel on the stage and sing a song of conquest." These girls were truly domineering. Long Fei had to admire her. And then, a huge battle list appeared on the screen of the Blackstone. The first match, Arrogant Dragon Squad against Spirit Water Battle Team. Similarly, in the first round, the Alchemy Competition, Long Fei against the College of Martial Arts Training's Yuanda. This kind of arrangement was to prevent time from running out, and it was to leave Long Fei no time to see how he would choose. Moreover, today, in the 8 matches, he entered the top 10. The matches tomorrow would also be held in the first round at the same time. Long Fei had to make a choice and see what he could do. They wanted to fiercely target Long Fei. "Please enter the stage, contestants." Arrogant Dragon Squad's people, please enter as soon as possible, the host said loudly. It was also at this time. The 5 members of the Spirit Water Battle Team flew out, all of them stepping onto the stage in an incomparably gorgeous manner, standing on the stage, looking at Long Fei and the others as they laughed coldly in disdain. "Brat, come up and die." All of them were incomparably arrogant. Long Fei walked out. Song Qianqian, Man Tuoyuo, Han Xueji, Xiao Ying, and Ling Long followed behind Long Fei and walked out. Aoya said heavily, "Sisters, you can do it." She was an elder, so she couldn't participate. But to her, this large competition was also a chance for her to take revenge. It was also a competition. Long Fei walked towards the alchemy arena. Watching Long Fei walk towards the alchemy arena, the captain of the Spirit Water Battle Team mocked loudly. "Long family, what's wrong? Scared? Weren't you very arrogant before? Didn't you say that you could overturn the 18 great matrial halls? Come on, why have you become a cowardly turtle?" Trash from the Nantian region are trash. Letting a group of women fight on stage is truly a useless thing. He was ruthlessly mocking Long Fei. Long Fei suddenly stopped and said to Song Qianqian, "I've decided we don't need them kneeling on the stage to sing about conquering. We'll directly kill them." Song Qianqian laughed faintly and said, "That's exactly what I mean." Both of Xiao Ying's fists exploded, cracking sounds coming from his joints, and he said, "Then I'll blast it to my heart's content." In the stands. Observation Group, Pan Family's location. Pan Zhan looked at Long Fei coldly and laughed. "Long Fei, slowly enjoy its starting." Chapter 906, Rushing Victory. Chapter 906, Rushing Victory. The first battle was Long Fei's arrogant dragon squad. It was also the first battle of the alchemy competition. There were people from the 18 matrial halls who were repeating the same process. Otherwise, they would have fought in all 3 matches simultaneously. Choose alchemy? Ouyang Zhan raised his brows and sneered. "Since you choose the alchemy, then your arrogant dragon squad will stop here." The principal of the Spirit Water College of Martial Arts Training smiled and said, "A team formed by a group of female disciples was directly blasted to the ground. Long Fei seems to want to get a super divine rating. Ha ha, ha ha, he's a joke." Many of the chairmen laughed out loud without restraint. Song Qianqian and the other 4 stepped onto the stage. Also at the same time, the boundary on the stage opened up. The boundary on the stage was a form of protection to prevent the energy from leaking out during battle, to prevent it from harming the innocent. 5 great beauties. Beauty, we don't want to destroy you. As long as you concede obediently and become our pair cultivation partner in front of the entire academy, we'll spare you. The captain of the Spirit Water Battle team smiled proudly. Looking at Song Qianqian's group of 5, each one more lively than the last, he wished that he could push all of them onto the bed. Song Qianqian smiled slightly. "If you don't speak, you will still be alive. It is your stinky mouth that has harmed you." Xiao Ying said, "You and your team will all die on the stage." The captain of the Spirit Water Battle team sneered in disdain and said, "You don't care about face? Brothers, don't be polite later. Let's tear up their clothes first and let everyone see what the beauties on the list look like without clothes." Ha ha! Everyone laughed out loud. Song Qianqian's eyes turned sinister. At the same time, the host slightly said, "The first match of the team ranking competition, Arrogant Dragon Squad against the Spirit Water Battle team, begin." As soon as he finished, the captain of the Spirit Water Battle team revealed an evil, lewd smile. "Little beauties, be good and tremble under our crotch, ha." However, without waiting for him to finish laughing, a cold, gloomy sword slashed across his neck. Immediately after, he felt a wave of coldness from deep within his heart. He gently touched it with his right hand and looked at the blood on his palm. His body slightly trembled as he said, This you put on." His body fell backwards, heavily crashing into the ground. Fresh blood spurted out from his neck. Song Qianqian's figure also descended and fiercely said, "Keep on shouting. Why aren't you shouting anymore?" One sword. Instant kill. The captain didn't even have time to react. To be more accurate, he didn't have the time to react at all. The entire martial arts arena could not react in time. The principal of the Spirit Water College of Martial Arts Training still had a complacent smile on his face. Looking at what was happening on the stage, his smile started to stiffen. And then, the face of the 18 matrial halls' principal also became ugly. Pan Zhan's eyes turned sinister. He snorted, "Trash. Walala." The entire audience was in an uproar. They all stood up and stretched out their necks to stare at the arena. Oh God, killing them in a single move. How fierce is this? This is too amazing. This female disciple is too overbearing. I couldn't see how she used her sword just now. What a complete mess. Countless people were shocked. Only one person was not shocked, Long Fei. What cultivation did Song Qianqian have? What was her strength? Long Fei was very clear that if she was angry, then one sword would be fatal. So, The truth proved that he mustn't anger a woman, or else the consequences would be dire. Put on. Plop. The remaining members of the spirit water battle team all knelt on the ground. One of them was pale and trembling. Their strongest captain had been instantly killed, and their fighting spirit had also collapsed. They no longer had any fighting strength left. Xiaoying took a step forward and said, "Sister Qian, let them sing and conquer you." "Sing together." Song Qian smiled. "Good idea. All of you, listen carefully. I'll sing a line, and all of you sing a line with me. Do you understand?" Song Qian laughed, her gaze looking at the position of the 18 matrial halls' square formation. "I was conquered by you, just like that. Sing for me." This was something that Long Fei had taught her. The 4 members of the spirit water battle team said in a low voice, "Just like that, you've conquered." "Louder, do you want to die?" Xiao Ying's violent temper flared. The 4 immediately shouted with all their might, "Just like that, I'll be conquered by you." Song Qian's gaze swept across the entire city and said, "If you want to mess with our arrogant dragon squad, come at me if you have the guts. I'll make each and every one of you kneel on the ground and sing a song of conquest." It was incomparably domineering. This made the people of 18 matrial halls extremely unhappy. Ouyang Zhan frowned. A sword was instantly killed. The 18 matrial halls' face has been completely thrown away by your Spirit Water College of Martial Arts training. Immediately investigate the background of this female disciple. He knew nothing about Song Qian's background. Very few people in the entire God Emperor Academy knew about Song Qian, and this was also the reason why she rarely showed her face. The host unwillingly shouted out, "Arrogant Dragon Squad wins. Next round." "Yay! Big Brother Long, Fei's team won." Yinner jumped up in joy. Everyone smiled, but they were not as happy as they were now. Because this was only the first round, and the Spirit Water Battle team was only cannon fodder. They only used it to test the arrogant Dragon Squad's strength. Indeed, originally, the 18 matrial halls was all around targeting Long Fei, but now there seemed to be another target for him to target. Just as Song Qian and the others won the first round, Long Fei's alchemy competition had also ended. Very quickly, although it wasn't as fast as Song Qian's instant kill, it was still more or less the same. Long Fei wins. Let's move on to the next round. Everyone was paying attention to the team competition, so no one was paying attention to how Long Fei did it. All they heard was the judge saying, and then the first round of alchemy competition ended. What's the situation? What did he win? Is alchemy really that fast? Just now, Long Fei was able to refine a 6-stage immortal stage pill. He did not even need to look to know that he had one. Grade 6 in immortal grade? Many people were shocked. Could he be an immortal pill master? We won. Boss won. Daoba became excited. He had been looking at Long Fei the entire time. He knew that Long Fei was an alchemy master, but he never thought that his alchemy would be this strong. That wasn't a lie. Yinner's eyes might really be able to heal them. Yinner laughed very happily and said, "Big Brother Long Fei is so powerful to be able to completely crush you in just the first match. Arrogant Dragon Squad is so powerful, we can totally crush him." Amongst the observing groups, Pan Zhan's eyes narrowed and said coldly, "Long Fei, don't get cocky too early. This is only the beginning." Chapter 907, Linglong's Explosion. Chapter 907, Linglong's Explosion. Both were victorious in their first matches. A crushing victory. Long Fei returned to the group and said excitedly, "Amazing." Xiao Ying giggled. "I haven't even made my move yet. Sister Qian is too powerful." Song Qian said, "The main thing is that I can't endure it any longer." Long Fei said, "You revealed yourself too early. The following battle will be difficult to deal with, but according to my strategy, everything should be fine." He believed in his tactics. With his many years of gaming experience, his tactics were definitely the best. This self-confidence, Long Fei did have it. Song Qian said, "Rest assured, I will take note." Also, Song Qian looked at a corner and said, "The people from Pan family are here as well." The corner of Long Fei's mouth quirked up as he laughed. I saw it. I'm afraid no one discovered the people of Pan family before him, because the golden light surrounding Pan Zhan's body flickered. The golden light emitted by the boss was too glaring. Long Fei saw it the moment he entered the stage. His heart became excited. Pan Gu axe. Is this counted as an ancient holy artifact? Ever since Pan Zhan took out the Pan Gu axe, Long Fei had never forgotten about it in his heart. He was always like this with regards to good things. This time when Pan Zhan appeared again, Long Fei secretly thought in his heart, I have to think of a way to kill him. Yin Huang ancestor suddenly interrupted. I just need a little bit of Pan Gu bloodline. The purity of the Pan Gu bloodline that flows on his body should be a little higher. Long Fei muttered, Ancestor, what do you need the Pan Gu blood essence for? Ever since Yin Huang ancestor promised to create a blood vein for Long Fei, he would take the initiative to absorb a little bit more of the blood vein that Long Fei killed whenever he encountered a boss. Just what was he doing? What kind of blood vein do you want to create? Yin Huang ancestor laughed and said, You will find out soon enough. I need some super-level blood veins power. I noticed earlier, and don't mention it, the Azure Dragon, White Tiger, Vermilion Bird, and Dancing Four Matrial Halls have quite a few divine ranked blood veins disciples. If I can absorb a bit of their blood vein, the progress of their development will double. Long Fei trembled slightly. What kind of blood vein is it in the end? The Yin Huang ancestor smiled mysteriously. You will know when the time comes. Long Fei did not continue asking. The second battle will be between College of War Martial Arts S. Team competition continued. Other than the previous year's top 8 teams that did not need to fight in the outer ring, the other 20 teams all had to fight for the 8 spots, and the final elimination round would begin. Half an hour later, the first round of alchemy competition had ended. According to the rules of the competition, the second round would begin in 10 minutes. However, he didn't. They were waiting for the first round of team competition S to end. It was still against Long Fei, so he didn't allow Long Fei to have time to participate in alchemy. At the same time, he was also able to participate in the competition and take revenge on Long Fei. If you want to fight, you should be a trash from the Nantian region. If you want status, don't want status. If you want status, don't want status. Humph, Pan Zhan coldly snorted and said, Long Fei, I won't die playing with you. The second round of the competition begins. First match, Arrogant Dragon Squad against Team 2. Alchemy competition, Round 2. First match, Long Fei against Wu Chanchuan. Please step forward, contestant. It happened again at the same time, not giving Long Fei any chance at all. Song Qianqian said, Long Fei, don't worry about the team competition. We will definitely not disappoint you. Long Fei smiled lightly and said, You all have never let me down. Ling Long suddenly said, Senior brother, Wu Chanchuan is a high-ranking disciple of Elixir Martial Arts branch. His alchemy technique is very strong, so you have to be careful. Yes. Long Fei laughed. His alchemy technique had now reached the 9th stage of the immortal stage. Even the elders of the Elixir Martial Arts branches were not his match. Long Fei was not worried about the alchemy. But for Song Qianqian and the others, Long Fei was a little worried. They were all high-ranked disciples of 3 years old. Last time, when Long Fei challenged the College of War Martial Arts, they did not appear. Second battle team. Average strength is at the 4th level of the Virtual Immortals. This secret training has increased their strength by quite a lot. The principal of the College of War Martial Arts said lightly, It's more than enough to deal with these female disciples. Ouyang Zhan asked, How was the task I instructed you to do? College of War Martial Arts laughed. I already sent the message. Long Fei definitely thought that we were going to target Song Qianqian, but they certainly wouldn't have thought we were targeting the weakest of them. Ling Long, Ouyang Zhan laughed sinisterly and said, It's time I let Long Fei see the blood. Haha. Besides these 5 female disciples, there are only a few service disciples left, and each one of them is disabled. Let's see just how he fights. It was also at this time. The principal of the Elixir Martial Arts branch also walked up with a smile on his face and said, Everything has been arranged. all the spirit grass that Long Fei used have been swapped. These spirit grass shouldn't even think of refining a specific pill. Ha! Ouyang Zhan laughed out loud. All right, this round will be a complete wipeout for Long Fei. Ouyang Zhan was incomparably pleased with himself. As he watched the approaching alchemy competition, he coldly laughed. Brat, although strength is important, there are times when skills are more important than strength. You're still too inexperienced. Ha ha. In the arena, the disciples of the second battle team slightly moved and attacked at the same time. All of them attacked Song Qianqian alone. To Song Qianqian, Xiao Ying, Man Taoyuo, Han Xueji, and Ling Long rushed up at the same time. Sister Qian, we'll help you. You shameless bastards. Just as they were about to rush over, Team 2's moves suddenly changed. Suddenly, 5 longswords locked onto Ling Long, and 5 swords struck out at the same time. Ling Long, be careful, Song Qianqian shouted loudly. This was all part of their plan. The 5 of them had changed too quickly. Moreover, from the very beginning, their goal was Ling Long, and not her. Ling Long's combat experience was meager. In the face of such a surprise attack, she panicked and fell into disarray. With 5 sneak attacks, they had sealed off all escape routes in front of her. Pan Zhan laughed coldly. Not bad. Ouyang Zhan still has some brains. This little girl must die. Ouyang Zhan also laughed complacently. With Ling Long dead, you should be angry, right? At that time, ha ha, supernatural rating? To establish a new college of martial arts training? Long Fei, you're simply a joke. Ling Long, be careful. Ling Long watched as the 5 ambushed them. Her heart was in turmoil, but in her heart, she kept telling herself that she could not drag Senior Brother down. Could not drag Arrogant Dragon Squad down. They could not give the Senior Brother any trouble. I should do my best to help the Senior Brother. In a split second, a pair of colorful feathers on Ling Long's back burst out. Chapter 908. Powder-making competition S. They're destined to lose. Chapter 908. Powder-making competition S. that are destined to lose. Ling Long was the youngest. However, she was not the weakest. On the contrary, other than Song Qianqian, he was the strongest. He spread his wings and soared into the sky. The gorgeous rainbow feathers carried an endless killing intent. The ancient vermilion bird's blood vein energy seemed to have awakened as it erupted from within its body. Bang, bang, bang. 5 consecutive sounds rang out. Team 2's 5 members were all sent flying by the power released from her body. They crashed into the boundary and bled profusely from all 7 orifices. One hit killed 5 people. At that moment, Ling Long only thought of not causing trouble for everyone and not dragging the Senior Brother down. Therefore, she released her strongest blood vein power. Divine Bird, Vermilion Bird, Vein of Ancient Rose Finch. Rainbow Wings, Vein of Ancient Rose Finch. Our God Emperor Academy actually has a disciple of a vein of Ancient Rose Finch. Oh my God! Ancient Blood Vein. Ah, an existence that surpasses the divine rank of Blood Vein. Isn't she the new disciple in Elixir Martial Arts branch that everyone can bully? Why? Why? Why do you have an ancient blood vein? An uproar broke out. It was floating in the air, exquisite and dazzling. The vein of ancient rose finch chi emitted from its body diffused throughout every corner of the training grounds. It was incomparably fierce. The fierceness of an ancient vermilion bird. The president of the Elixir Martial Arts branch was foolish. He actually did not know that there was such a monstrous genius in his own college of martial arts training. Moreover, he actually let her go. Who agreed to let her go? Which elder agreed to it? Is he retarded? The other person was also dumbfounded. The principal of the Rosefinch Martial Art College, he was also confused. Why do I not know that the God Emperor Academy has disciples of Rosefinch Blood Vessel? What are you all doing? But the Rosefinch Martial Art College lost the successor of the vein of ancient Rosefinch. Then what kind of Rosefinch Martial Art College were they? This was slapping them in the face with their slippers, moreover, slapping them on the face. It was too hard. Wow, what a strong aura. Father, The aura of ancient strength. Which sister's power is this? Yin'er felt the power in Linglong's body, and she became excited. Just like Linglong, her body also possessed a powerful blood vein power. The black knife caressed Yin'er's small head and said softly, "She is called Linglong, Long Fei's little junior sister. Boss is so mighty. No wonder Boss is not worried about the arrogant dragon squad at all." With a sword arts genius like Song Qianqian, and also the successor of the vein of ancient Rosefinch, a normal team like this would not be a match for them, unless it's a team from the four matrial halls. Fu Xishan was secretly shocked in his heart. Long Fei gave her a different miracle every time. Thinking about what Long Fei arranged a month ago, Fu Xishan said in his heart, "Did the counterattack start?" She retracted her exquisite wings and landed back on the ground. Song Qianqian laughed. Linglong, powerful. Xiaoying, Mantal Yuo, Han Xueji all had a face full of shock. Junior sister Linglong, you're too powerful, aren't you? The vein of ancient Rosefinch. Linglong's smiling face was slightly red as she said, "Sis, please don't laugh at me." Song Qianqian laughed. Linglong, this is not a mockery. We can't even get close to being envious. How would we dare to ridicule you? Victory, arrogant dragon squad. Enter the next round. It was also at this time. The president of the Rosefinch Martial Art College, Lu Changkong, flew down. The principal of the Elixir Martial Arts branch also flew down along with him and said, "You are a disciple of the Elixir Martial Arts branch. I do not agree to let you leave the Elixir Martial Arts branch, so you are still my Elixir Martial Arts branch's disciple." Lu Changkong yelled directly, "Principal Su, you can't defend your own disciple, and you still dare to brazenly come out and let her return?" And then Lu Changkong stood in front of Linglong and said, "You are the inheritor of the ancient vermilion bird. As long as you nod your head, I will bring you into the Rosefinch Martial Art College and give you the position of an elder." He had to take it. How could the Rosefinch Martial Art College not have a successor as a Rosefinch blood vessel? Su Qian's face sank and said, "Principal Lu, she is a disciple of my Elixir Martial Arts branch. It's not good for you to openly poach her, right? Vein of ancient Rosefinch, a monstrous genius. He would definitely become an outstanding existence in the future. If such a disciple was in their college of martial arts training, his strength would increase greatly, and he would become an outstanding existence." Lu Changkong shouted, "What's wrong? Do you, Su Tianhe, still want to steal from me? So what if I fight with you?" Su Tianhe was not afraid. The two chairmen fought with red faces and thick necks. They were on the verge of a fight. If that's possible, they really wanted to fight. Song Qianqian glanced at the two of them and said, "What are you two arguing about here? Do you think Linglong will follow you guys?" Linglong said, "Thank you for your kind intentions, headmasters. I will follow senior brother Long Fei." Song Qianqian immediately said, "Did you hear that? She's only following senior brother Long Fei. TCH." With that said, Song Qianqian pulled Linglong's hand and walked down the stage, completely ignoring the two deans. Lu Changkong and Su Tianhe were dumbfounded. Su Tianhe's voice became angry, and she said, "I'll give you the best chance to choose." Linglong did not turn back as she said, domineeringly, "I choose senior brother Long Fei." Lu Changkong frowned, then shouted, "This time in the competition, Long Fei is dead. I shall see how you choose him then." His murderous intent was even stronger. Hearing this, Linglong replied in her heart, "Then I will also choose to die with him." However, he did not say it out loud. Amongst the crowd, Pan Zhan's eyes turned sinister. "Vein of ancient Rosefinch, I don't believe that I won't be able to cripple you." He was furious. After losing 2 rounds consecutively, Arrogant Dragon Squad's popularity soared. The beautiful team, 1 kill, Rosefinch blood vessel, all of these made Arrogant Dragon Squad's popularity soar. At this moment, Long Fei looked at the spirit grass on the table. These spirit grass were all over the place and could not concoct any special pills. The second round of the challenge was to refine a specific pellet, spiritual pill. The spirit grass that was given to Long Fei had all sorts of messy attributes, making it impossible to refine spiritual pill. Long Fei, why aren't you refining it yet? If you can't cultivate it, then admit defeat. I'll see if you can refine it. Don't embarrass yourself again. Long Fei heaved a sigh of relief. There were only 3 minutes remaining, but his heart was alarmed as he brought out the green dragon tripod. The power of celestial surged and the fire raged. Reverse alchemy technique. Long Fei was slightly relieved as he held onto a spirit grass in one hand. With a strong force from his palm, the spirit liquid dripped into the pill furnace. Seeing his method of refining, a few alchemists immediately sneered. He doesn't even know what alchemy is. Such a method is bound to fail. He's definitely going to lose this battle. Just wait and see. Chapter 909, Reverse Alchemy Technique. Chapter 909, Reverse Alchemy Technique using the spirit grasses that were impossible to refine to give to Long Fei. There was no fairness in such a competition. As long as Long Fei could not concoct a specific pill, he would lose. Thus, he stopped for the second round. However, Long Fei would never admit defeat. The more people wanted him to lose, the more he would climb up the stairs while stepping on top of them. Because at that time, he still hadn't grasped the reverse alchemy technique. But now, Long Fei gained a new understanding towards alchemy. 1,000 changes. The alchemy was like a battle, containing 10,000 moves in one go. This was the retrograde alchemy technique. As long as one grasped the attributes of the spiritual pill, they could copy it down. Just now, Long Fei had been waiting for the other party to finish refining the spiritual pill. Long Fei wanted to know this attribute and its ratio. To Long Fei, who had already cultivated the alchemy technique to the 9th stage of the immortal stage, inspecting the power of celestial attribute and the ratio of each pill was an easy task. As long as he knew all of this, nothing would be a problem. 1 more minute. No, I was wrong. There's still 30 seconds. Brat, hurry up. You'll be considered to have lost after the time has passed. The 3 minutes were cut in half by the referee. The judge, person, field, spirit grass, they were all in the hands of the people from Pan family. How could he fight with them? How could he win? As long as Long Fei lost 1 round, then he would completely lose this competition. He could not lose 1 round, whether it was alchemy or arrogant dragon squad. Both could not fail. Time passed second by second. Long Fei was completely focused and entered into a state of meditation. Just a bit more, just a bit more, just a bit more. 10 seconds. 9 seconds. The judge started to count down. Looking at Long Fei, who was still refining, his face revealed a pleased smile. You're not going to lose this time? Ha. He was abnormally happy. As long as Long Fei lost, he would get a pretty good reward. A few elders of the Elixir Martial Arts branch also laughed proudly. Long Fei is definitely going to lose this match. Even if it wasn't, it would be too late. Not everyone can use alchemy. Many people began to mock him. Do the trash of Nantian region still understand alchemy? Do the people of Nantian region know what is called medicinal pellets? Long Fei, go home and eat sh*t. Scram back to your Nantian region. You still want to show off your arrogance there. You are too arrogant. Song Qianqian frowned. The sounds of ridicule around him made them both extremely furious. Ling Long muttered, Come on, senior brother, let's show them. Come on, yo, Master Long, boss, all the best. Their hearts hung at their throats. The time was almost up. If they didn't finish refining, they would lose. 3 seconds. 2 seconds. Long Fei, it's the last second. The referee arrogantly said, Time's up. Before he could finish his words, Long Fei moved his idea. Done. Rumble. A loud noise came out from the green dragon tripod and shot into the sky. An elder of the Elixir Martial Arts branch stood up and ridiculed loudly. The furnace blew up. If your method of refining is successful, I'll eat this chair. The sound just now was extremely intense. It was impossible for a pill to produce such a loud noise, and it must have been an explosion. Ouyang Zhan laughed. The principal of the 18 matrial halls began to laugh. Panjan also laughed. Before the competition could even begin, the judge had already announced it loudly. Long Fei lose? Wait. Long Fei raised his right hand, laughed coldly, and said, "How can you conclude that I have lost before even fighting? Did your eye see me lose?" Long Fei said very arrogantly, staring at the elder who was threatening to eat the chair. "If I succeed, what if you don't eat the chair?" The elder sneered. "Long Fei, alchemy is useless if you're so arrogant. I have even more pills than you have eaten rice. Even if you didn't explode your furnace just now, the quality of the pills would not have surpassed the pills he had refined." Long Fei stared at him and said, "What if you don't eat it?" The elder laughed contemptuously. "As a dignified elder of Elixir Martial Arts branch, I will keep my word. You want to make a bet with me? You've lost. What should we do?" Long Fei said, "What do you think?" That elder said, "Kneel before me, kowtow, and admit your mistake, and admit that you are a trash. Do you dare take a gamble?" He was very arrogant. This was because he believed that he had won for sure. He was very familiar with how spiritual pill refined. Long Fei's method could not be successful. It was definitely the method of a waste powder. He was 100% sure. The Elixir Martial Arts branch disciples immediately clamored, "Brat, do you dare to gamble if you don't dare scram? Someone like you is worthy of your alchemy? Do you know what alchemy is?" Scram back to Nantian region. The corner of Long Fei's mouth rose and said, "Must we play with such a huge problem?" The elder felt that Long Fei was afraid and became even more proud. "Why are you afraid today? Do you dare to gamble? If you dare bet, you can just admit defeat and directly go back to your Nantian region. Don't embarrass yourself in his place." Long Fei's gaze turned sinister as he said, "I'm afraid that you won't be able to afford it. Bet." And then Long Fei took out the spiritual pill that was refined out of the green dragon tripod out. Everyone was shocked. It's actually not a waste powder. Even if it isn't a waste powder, it can't be a spiritual pill. This round of competition is about specific pills. His spirit grass will definitely not be able to refine any of them. The elder was not worried. The three elders from the palace question of God stepped forward, sensed the situation slightly, then sat down. One of the elders said indifferently, "Long Fei has won." Their eyes were filled with shock. When they sensed the spiritual pill that Long Fei had refined, they were extremely shocked in their hearts, because the quality of this spiritual pill had already reached an extreme quality realm. The effects of the spiritual pill's medicinal pellets were unleashed to the limit. The reason they hid the shock in their hearts was because they did not want Long Fei to cause a bigger sensation when he turned a small pellet into a mythical one. This kid isn't simple. To be able to extract and refine the spirit liquid that spiritual pill need from these random spirit grass, and to use a special method to reform and refine them. Truly brilliant. When the palace question of God elder's voice fell, the entire audience was in an uproar. That elder of the Elixir Martial Arts branch immediately fell down from his chair and shouted, "Impossible! Absolutely impossible! Those spirit grass are obviously not the materials to refine spiritual pill. They're simply not spiritual pill." While they were talking, he rushed down and shouted, "Brat, it's impossible for you to refine spiritual pill. Those spirit grass are not spiritual pill's materials." Long Fei smiled slightly and said, "You also know that this is not a material for spiritual pill. Alchemy competition, you did not give me a spirit grass. You wanted me to refine a spiritual pill. Is this your so-called alchemy competition? God Emperor Academy? Ha!" Long Fei loudly laughed at them. "Can you all be a little more shameless?" Chapter 9-10. Challenge the entire Elixir Martial Arts branch. Chapter 9-10. Challenge the entire Elixir Martial Arts branch. Long Fei's words shook the entire audience. Also at this time, the elder was stunned, but he still wanted to take a look at the pellets Long Fei had refined. When he felt the quality of the spiritual pill, he started trembling. Long Fei laughed coldly. "Is this a spiritual pill? Bring me that chair. Sun Data swiftly rushed up and brought the chair up. Long Fei laughed disdainfully. Now eat it. The voice was suddenly enraged and shouted, "Let me eat it!" The entire audience quieted down, especially the disciples of Elixir Martial Arts Branch. It was as if Long Fei had slapped them in the face, and transferring the spirit grass was something they needed to do. Now that it was publicly announced to the public, it was a huge blow to Elixir Martial Arts Branch's reputation. At this time, Su Tianhe slightly shouted, "Long Fei, since you know that the spirit grass is not from the spiritual pill, why didn't you say it first? You have already successfully refined the spiritual pill. What right do you have to say that these spirit grass are not the materials to refine the spiritual pill? Long Fei, you are slandering my Elixir Martial Arts Branch's reputation. I want you to apologize to him. If you dare not do so, don't blame me for being impolite." Su Tianhe became stronger. Ouyang Zhan was ecstatic. He thought to himself, Su Tianhe really has a plan, not bad. At this moment, Long Fei laughed coldly. He then picked up the chair beside him and smashed it onto the elder's head, and bellowed, "Eat it!" Bam! That elder was beaten until his head bled profusely. Long Fei stared at Su Tianhe and said, "If you're not being polite, let me see." Swish! Long Fei immediately swore, and his heart became displeased. He had been suppressing the anger in his heart the entire time, as he had been controlling to not directly vent it out. But now, he couldn't help it. Chun Tianfei was ambushed, the arrogant dragon squad was targeted, all sorts of injustices occurred, and they were excluded from all aspects. The more Long Fei endured, the more he realized that Ouyang Zhan and the others were taking an inch out of it. Since you don't want to be courteous, then come at your father. If you don't kill me today, then I will destroy your ancestors tomorrow. Come on, Long Fei roared, with killing intent in his eyes. He stared straight at Su Tianhe. Do you think I'm a sick cat if I don't show off? F***CK. The rage raged. He directly smashed Su Tianhe down. Su Tianhe's expression was also extremely ugly, and she was unable to say anything for a moment. At this moment, Long Fei picked up the pole that was scattered on the chair and smashed it down again. Give it to this daddy to eat. If you don't finish eating this chair today, I'll kill you. It's fine to say he is, but not to say Nantian region. That elder was so scared that he trembled, not even daring to fart. He grabbed the wooden chair on the floor and started to eat like a madman, as if he was afraid that Long Fei would take his life. Su Tianhe was infuriated as he shouted in a serious tone, "Long Fei, don't be too presumptuous. Hey, lousy is this impudent. If you have the guts, then come down and bite me. Like I said, if you can't kill me today, then I'll tear you apart tomorrow." Just like that, just like that. Unconvinced? If you can't accept it, then come and kill me. Su Tianhe clenched his fists tightly, smoke rising from the top of his head. He had been stomped by a disciple, and this was his first time as the principal of a Elixir Martial Arts Branch. How would he survive in the future? Su Tianhe was furious, extremely angry. A malevolent look appeared on Su Tianhe's forehead as he heavily shouted, "Where are the Elixir Martial Arts Branch disciples?" Huh! All the disciples of the Elixir Martial Arts Branch stood up and shouted in unison, "Present." Su Tianhe stared at Long Fei and said, "Today, this old man shall see how you can still be so arrogant." At this moment, Long Fei's gaze swept across them as he said with a cold smile, "The last time was to use force against your Elixir Martial Arts Branch. Since today is the Academy's competition, I will challenge your entire Elixir Martial Arts Branch. It just so happens that all of your so-called alchemy geniuses, elders, and principals are here. Today, this old man will overturn all of you." Long Fei was incomparably domineering. It was useless to be blind. He would just do it for real and flip through the pages first. To challenge the entire Elixir Martial Arts Branch. And it was a challenge using the method of alchemy. Most of the disciples participating in the alchemy competition were Elixir Martial Arts Branch's disciples. This time, not only would Long Fei have to fight them alone, he would also include all of the elders of the entire Elixir Martial Arts Branch, and even the #1 alchemy grandmaster, Su Tianhe. Long Fei's gaze swept across the entire competition grounds. Don't waste words with this, Daddy. I'm just asking if you dare. I've dealt with all of you in one go today, so as to save some time. This was what Long Fei wanted to do, as the arrogant dragon squad's strength became more and more exposed. Xiao Ying's violence. Man Toaluo's spirit poison would quickly be exposed. At that time, they definitely wouldn't be able to hold on for more than a few rounds. Since things were like this, Long Fei might as well finish them off in one go at the alchemy competition and flip through all of them. The entire audience was shocked. Is this person crazy? Refining a spiritual pill and challenging the true pill S? What's going on in his head? Isn't this too arrogant? You think the Elixir martial arts branch is dog shit? The martial arts arena was in an uproar. Many people were discussing about it. Ling Long did not understand. Why does the senior brother want to enrage the entire Elixir martial arts branch? He can clearly enter the next round, so there's no need for us to bother about him. Song Qianqian secretly frowned between his brows and said, he's worried about us and wants to end the alchemy competition early. Man Taoyuo said slightly, that's how Long Fei is. He thinks about everything others do and never thinks about himself. He's so stupid. How can there be such a foolish man? All the girls felt displeasure in their hearts. Ouyang Zhan took a step down, grabbed onto Su Tianhe, and said, Brother Su, don't fall for his trick. He also clearly knew what Long Fei wanted to do. He wanted to anger Su Tianhe and end the alchemy competition. Su Tianhe was already raging and did not listen to advice at all, as he said, let go. If I don't teach this brat a lesson today, Su Tianhe, won't have the face to stay in God Emperor Academy. This is going too far. Ouyang Zhan said, Brother Su, calm down. Long Fei is purposefully provoking you. The other chairman also followed, saying, Principal Su, the overall situation is more important. Calm down. Why were you angered by a lame duck? Everyone tried to persuade him otherwise. Su Tianhe also calmed down a little. However, Long Fei started to coldly laugh out loud. What kind of dog shit elixir martial art branch are you talking about? A bunch of trash, and you still dare to say that I don't understand alchemy, and that I don't even know how to retaliate while sitting on your head and shitting? Elixir martial arts branch? Bullshit. Ha! His words were like adding oil to the fire. Su Tianhe, who was slightly calmer, instantly became berserk as his body sank down. With a leap, he landed heavily on top of stage of powder-making competition. I will let you know what alchemy is and what it means to die. Long Fei laughed coldly. 18 matrial halls. The 18 bosses will start from you. Chapter 911. Not crazy. Chapter 911. Not crazy principle of 18 matrial halls. 18 bosses. 1 month ago, they were not the shiny boss in College of War Martial Arts, but this time, they had mutated. The mutation was too sudden. If Long Fei had not angered Su Tianhe, this boss of his would not have been mutated just now. Right now, his name was red, and his body was glowing with a golden light. Long Fei was excited when he saw this, and thought to himself, if I get enraged, I will mutate, and 18 matrial halls' headmasters will all be bosses. Damn, this time they're going to attack at the right time. The drop rate of a mutated boss should be quite high, right? Long Fei was not afraid of Su Tianhe's mutation. On the other hand, he was very excited. In the game, the most exciting thing to do was to kill bosses, kill Holy Artifact, and suddenly appear as 18 bosses. Adding Pan Zhan, who had the Pangu axe, there were a total of 19 bosses. Long Fei looked at the furious Su Tianhe and purposely laughed at him. Yo, we're going to get angry just by being provoked? It looks so scary. Su Tianhe's eyes flashed with killing intent. He pointed at Long Fei and shouted, Kid, are you afraid now? If you are afraid, kneel down and kowtow 100 times. With the name red on top of Su Tianhe's head, a boss in this state could attack him at any time. However, what is someone with alchemy afraid of him for? Su Tianhe was the #1 Grandmaster of Pills in the God Emperor Academy, and his alchemy technique had already reached the highest level of the 9th stage of the immortal stage. The high level of alchemy technique did not mean that his martial arts training was also powerful. Among all the directors of College of Martial Arts Training, his level of martial arts training was the lowest. How could Long Fei be afraid of such a person? Afraid? Long Fei fixed his hair for a bit, and then sneered, "I, Long Fei, have never been afraid in my entire life. I just think that you're very obedient. I told you to come down as soon as you're down, like an old dog, huh?" Very arrogant. Su Tianhe took a step forward with incomparable rage and shouted, "Long Fei, I must kill you today." The aura on his body was extremely oppressive. Su Tianhe's cultivation was not very high, but he was still in the blood immortal realm, and what he was good at was fighting-type pills. Right now, his anger was hard to be quelled, and he wished that he could tear Long Fei into pieces. Long Fei's mouth rose and said, "Since you want to kill me, then let's play it big. Aren't you the #1 alchemist? Do you dare to gamble with your life?" They were trying to force Su Tianhe into a corner so as to not give him any opportunity to catch his breath. As for refining medicinal pellets, for ordinary disciples and elders, they were not Long Fei's match. But if one were to talk about Su Tianhe, Long Fei really did not think that he was absolutely able to beat me. That's why Long Fei wanted to force him even more. At the same time, Long Fei had also forced himself into a corner. What's boss doing? Doesn't he know that Su Tianhe is God Emperor Academy's #1 alchemist? To challenge Su Tianhe and even gamble with his life, aren't we just going to throw our lives away? Senior brother, what's wrong with him? Su Tianhe is a master of alchemy. Senior brother is no match for him. Linglong said worriedly. She was very clear that Long Fei's alchemy technique was very powerful, but no matter how powerful it was impossible for it to be a match for Su Tianhe. Song Qianqian muttered, "He's forcing himself into a corner." Xiao Ying cried out in alarm and said, "Sister Qianqian, why did young Master Long push herself to death?" She didn't understand. Many people did not understand. Song Qianqian had experienced 2 adventures in the Transu continent, and she was very clear about Long Fei's personality. Every time, she would force herself into a dead end, because only in desperate times could a person break his or her limits. With just the alchemy technique, Long Fei knew that he would definitely not be Su Tianhe's match. Only by forcing him into a dead end and exploding his innate talent and potential would Long Fei be able to win. If he wasn't crazy, then he couldn't be a demon. Long Fei was just like that. Everyone around the martial arts practice grounds started to discuss with one another. Isn't this too arrogant? This guy is overestimating himself. He actually dared to challenge the first alchemy grandmaster and still wants to gamble his life. If you want to scare people, you should at least see who your target is. Su Tianhe, God Emperor Academy's #1 alchemist. I thought I had some brains, but I didn't expect me to be this stupid and gamble my life. Just wait for your death. Ouyang Zhan and a few other chairmen, who were originally trying their best to dissuade them, had also stopped at this time. None of them thought that Long Fei would actually dare to take such a big gamble. A life wager. He was courting death. If that was the case, why stop him? Ouyang Zhan laughed coldly, looked at Long Fei, and said with contempt, "Long Fei, oh Long Fei, if I want to know what you're so intelligent for, why would I waste so much effort on? With Su Tianhe? Isn't this reporting to Yama myself?" Ha ha! Ouyang Zhan and a few headmasters all started to laugh out loud. Ouyang Zhan deliberately pretended to be the headmaster and said, "Long Fei, you're betting your life on this, huh?" Long Fei glanced at him, glanced at Ouyang Zhan, and said, "What? Is Principal Ouyang afraid? Can't afford to lose? You can't afford to lose, so go home." Ouyang Zhan sneered and said, "I'm really afraid that I won't be able to afford it." "I'm afraid that you won't be able to afford it." And then, Su Tianhe's gaze tightened as he coldly shouted, "There is a path to heaven that you refuse to take. There is no door to hell yet you barged in. Long Fei, your life is mine now. Go ahead. What kind of bet? Su Tianhe agreed. Right now, he couldn't wait to kill Long Fei. Long Fei said, "It's simple. We can refine as we wish. Whoever has the higher level of pills, the better quality pills, whoever wins. The key point is, willing to admit defeat, you, Su Tianhe, won't be unable to afford to lose, right? That's fate. If we lose, there's nothing left." Long Fei continued to reveal a look of despise. Su Tianhe sneered, "Don't worry. With over 100,000 people here as witnesses, you won't be able to escape. I'll personally send you off." At this moment, Pan Zhan suddenly stood up and said, "Principal Su, my Pan family will provide you with 9 pure and single-attribute holy herb. I wish you can refine them into 9 dragon pill." As soon as he finished, immediately, 2 disciples from Pan family took out 9 stalks of immortal grass. The power of Celestial was dense, and it emitted a faint glow. Long Fei stared straight ahead. These 9 holy herb were like light-emitting weapons. They were definitely good stuff. Every single one of them was at least 100 times more expensive. The most important point was that these holy herb had a single attribute. One would be considered a fire attribute, while the other was a fire attribute. This immortal herb was known as the supreme grade. With these top-grade immortal herbs, Su Tianhe had already won. Even those weaker than Long Fei could easily defeat him, let alone Su Tianhe. He would definitely lose. Life must die. Chapter 9:12, I make them worship me like gods. Chapter 9:12, I make them worship me like God's holy herb. Pan family was worthy of being called a Pan family. He used holy herbs as soon as he attacked, and even created 9 of them. Even a level 1 alchemy technique could refine a holy ply, let alone a level 9 immortal rank Su Tianhe. How could Long Fei be a match for him? Pan family's move had directly put Long Fei to death. Pan Zhan looked at Long Fei, who was on the stage, disdainfully sneered, and said, "Today, I'll let you have a taste of what it means to crush someone." "Ah!" Daoba shouted angrily. "Isn't this too shameless? What is the holy herb refining? Even direct devouring can have the same effect as holy ply. Do you still need to compare?" Heishan asked. "Do we not have holy herb?" Fu Shishan's face sank, and his heart was in great pain. She could not take out the holy herb to help Long Fei. If she could not help Long Fei, she felt very uncomfortable in her heart. In terms of financial and material resources, in any aspect, the Fengyuan Business Alliance was not a match for the Pan family. Let alone 9 holy herb, she would not even be able to take one out. Fu Shishan lowered his head, feeling upset. Furthermore, if the 9 holy herb were to be refined together, then Su Tianhe would be able to refine a 9 dragon pill. This is the strongest inheritance in the God Emperor Academy, and it can only be obtained using holy herbs. Song Qianqian's heart sank. It's a pity that this place is not dark domain, otherwise. Man Toaluo muttered to himself. Even the entire drug race would not be able to produce that many holy herb. The Pan family is simply too powerful. What should we do? Pan family wants Long Fei to die. Sister Qian, think of a way. Xiao Ying said anxiously. This was no ordinary competition. This was a life wager. If Long Fei lost, Ouyang Zhan and the others would definitely not let him leave this place alive. They would definitely kill him. If he won, is that possible? Su Tianhe had already reached the pinnacle of the alchemy realm, adding the 9 holy herb. Even in the entire God's martial continent, no one would be a match for him, let alone Long Fei. It was impossible to win. Song Qianqian shook his head gently. There's no other way. I can't think of anything. Suddenly, Ling Long rushed out and said, "Principal Su, didn't you want me to return to the Elixir Martial Arts branch? As long as you allow senior brother Long Fei to withdraw from the competition, I will agree to your request. I promise you anything." It was the only way she could think of. Stupid way. Su Tianhe sneered in disdain and said, "You agree now? Too late. Today I must let him die. If it was the beginning, perhaps there would be room for discussion. After all, he was the successor of the vein of ancient rosefinch, but now that the Pan family had already taken out the holy herb, he had no way out. He had to trample Long Fei to death. Moreover, his anger for being angered by Long Fei did not decrease in the slightest. He wanted to stomp Long Fei to death. Linglong looked at Lu Changkong again and said, "Principal Lu, I am the successor of the Rosefinch blood vessel. I can enter the Vermilion Bird Academy. I beg of you." She knew what alchemy were and what holy herb were. She also knew that Long Fei would definitely lose. She did not want to see Long Fei die. Lu Changkong laughed in disdain. "Didn't you choose Long Fei just now? Begging me now? Do you really take yourself seriously? Don't worry. Your Rosefinch blood vessel will enter the Vermilion Bird Temple, but you can't enter the Rosefinch Martial Art College. As for that kid, he's dead for sure today." Lu Changkong laughed coldly. He could not possibly agree to Linglong's request. Forget about Linglong being the successor to the Rosefinch blood vessel. Even if she was the king of hell himself, it would be useless. At a time like this, he couldn't be at odds with the Pan family. The most important thing was that once the Rosefinch blood vessel on Linglong was extracted, it would mean that the Rosefinch Martial Art College would have a Rosefinch blood vessel. "I beg you, let senior brother Long Fei withdraw from the competition." Linglong cried until she was in tears. It was heartbreaking looking at her like this. As for the elders of the God Emperor Academy, they were all like gods standing high above, their eyes cold and filled with ridicule. She looked at Linglong coldly, without a shred of sympathy. Moreover, they were all thinking of one thing in their hearts: kill Long Fei. Linglong cried, "I beg you, please let senior brother Long Fei go." "Ha ha! Long Fei, do you see? You're currently like an ant struggling to live, so lowly that you need a woman to plead for you. You're really too weak. You're too petty, ha ha." Ouyang Zhan laughed loudly. "Didn't you say you wanted to challenge 18 matrial halls? With just you? This kind of trash from the Nantian region wants to accompany us." His voice was like a thunderclap, rolling in the sky above the martial arts practice grounds and not dissipating for a long time. It was also at this time the whole of martial arts arena burst into laughter. Challenge the 18 matrial halls? Ha ha! Is he joking? It's all because of Nantian region and whether they're trash. I think they're brainless and disabled, right? Presumptuous trash. The disciples of the 18 matrial halls all laughed at Long Fei. Seeing Long Fei being crushed, they were all extremely excited in their hearts. Panjan also laughed complacently. "Brat, how'd it feel to be crushed? It must be great, ha ha ha." Ridicule spread in all directions. To challenge the 18 matrial halls was like an enormous joke. Suddenly, Long Fei walked down from stage of powder-making competition and walked towards Linglong. At this moment, Su Tiana bellowed, "Brat, you want to leave?" Without waiting for him to finish speaking, Long Fei's finger moved, pointed at his face, and said, "Don't be in such a hurry. I will definitely not leave today." He walked up to Linglong and gently wiped the tears off her face and said, "Linglong, don't worry, I won't lose." Linglong looked at Long Fei and said, "Senior brother, they will really kill you. They really will. Let's go. Don't compete anymore." Song Chantian and the others also walked over. Song Chantian immediately said, "Long Fei, let's go, we can rush out." Man, Tuoluo slightly nodded. "My poison spirit immortal root has already been cultivated to the 7th level. My poison can make. I'm not leaving." Without waiting for them to finish speaking, Long Fei said directly, "Don't worry, I won't be defeated that easily. I won't lose that easily. Qian Qian, Linglong, listen carefully. Even if I die in the future, I still don't want you all to go beg anyone, especially a person who thinks he is above everyone else." Long Fei swept his gaze across the entire audience. His voice suddenly became heavy, and he coldly laughed. "They're now mocking me. After the large competition ends, I want them to respect me as if I'm a god." Finished. Long Fei turned and walked towards the stage of powder-making competition, summoning his god's devil ancient case. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.